results.
Not the media that has him down 30 points to Donald Trump in the polls. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis blaming the media, though, for those lagging poll numbers. That was during an interview on Fox Business News yesterday. Joining us now, Republican presidential candidate, former governor of the great state of New Jersey, Chris Christie. Governor, it's great to have you back on the show. Welcome.
Good to see you, Willie.
So a lot of people have been watching you operate, going after Donald Trump in a way that no one else has. They like what they hear, but they wonder, what is the path to the nomination? How are you looking at this as you sort of build slowly? And first of all, I have to qualify it to get to that first debate. Are you confident you'll be there on the stage?
Yes, I'm very confident we'll be there. In fact, I think we'll have some good announcements this week in that regard. But look, we all got fooled 8 years ago into this idea, and by all of us, I mean me, Marco Rubio, Jeb Bush, John Kasich, that there was an establishment lane, and then there was a more conservative lane that had Ted Cruz and Carly Fiorina and Donald Trump and Ben Carson. And that somehow, like the NCAA tournament, Willie, we were going to advance from those brackets to face the winners. By the time we got done fighting with each other, Donald Trump had won the nomination. It was over. To me, there's only one lane, and Donald Trump's at the head of that lane. And if you want to win, you got to go through him. And so, I think all of the other folks in this race, some of whom I have great respect for, some less respect for, the fact is that if they think that just by standing there and ignoring Donald Trump, that they're going to beat him, I could tell them from experience 8 years ago, not going to happen. You have to beat the man to be the man, Willie. And he's the man who's ahead in the polls, and you need to take him on. And I think answers like, Governor DeSantis just gave on the clip you showed, by blaming other people for your inability to go after Donald Trump is not the way to win this nomination, in my view.
So there is this belief that the more that comes at Donald Trump, just within the primary, the deeper his support gets, that his supporters buy what he says, which is, this is a witch hunt, they're coming after me, Joe Biden has weaponized the Department of Justice, et cetera, et cetera. The more the indictments come, the stronger he gets in some cases. Do you believe that to be true? And if it is true, how do you break through with true believers, these people who are all in for Donald Trump no matter what?
Look, first of all, I don't believe it's true, because I think that everyone's looking for one silver bullet that will end his candidacy. And I don't think that exists. But I do think that there becomes a weight that he has to carry around. Like you saw this morning, the lead news that I saw this morning was his trial team asking for a trial to be delayed past the election. Well, if there's another indictment, let's say in Georgia, and if there's another indictment by DOJ, all those things are going to be going on at the same time this guy's trying to campaign for president. And I think there's a weight on a burden that he will carry that other people look at and say, now, with 4 indictments, can he actually beat Joe Biden? And I think that that's going to take some time, though. I had a very smart former elected official say to me a week ago, remember something, he's been at the front of Republican primary voter minds for 8 years. You're not going to get rid of that in 8 weeks. And so there's a matter of patience here, Willie. But here's what I think Republican voters deserve more than anything else. They deserve the truth. Certainly not going to get that from him. And they deserve results on the issues that they care about. And they didn't get that from him either. Said he was going to repeal and replace Obamacare. With the Republican Congress, he didn't. He said he was going to build a wall across the entire border of Mexico. Mexico was going to pay for it. He built 47 miles of new wall in 4 years. I could have built my hands more than 47 miles, and we haven't gotten our first peso. He said he was going to balance the budget in 4 years. He added $6 trillion to the national debt. We need results for the Republican primary voters that care about those things. He's not the guy who's going to deliver.
But I guess the question is, a lot of Republicans know everything you just said. They know there's no wall. They know all that stuff, and they still are all in with him. So what are you hearing when you go out? Let's take New Hampshire as an example. People who may have voted for him in 16 and 20. Do you hear, whether publicly at a town hall or privately talking to them, do you hear any cracks in that support?
Yeah, they're concerned he can't beat Joe Biden. And the interesting thing is, if you saw the interview he gave yesterday in the Nevada Globe, and they asked him, well, you lost in Nevada in 16 and in 20. No Republican has won it since 04. What's your strategy to win it in 24? He said,
welcome to a brand new episode of the Nick and CJ Show. I'm one of your hosts. I'm CJ. What's up, Nick?
Hey, what's poppin', my friends, my family? Welcome back on this Tuesday edition of the Nick and CJ Show. What up, Sir Clip? And you guys see how liberals have no moral character, no values that they actually stand for. Because according to them, Chris Christie is the hero now, CJ. At one point during this clip, Chris Christie was like, the Republican voters
it's ridiculous.
can tell them the truth. Sir, you guys know you're talking to Chris Christie? The liberals didn't allow Chris Christie to pretend that he's the
Wow, Nick, when I picked this clip, I somehow knew you would get the entire point of why I was playing this clip, and that's it. Chris Christie is the inside man for cable news. This is the person who's going out to say, look at the Republican is saying the exact same things that cable news hosts are saying. And that's all he's here to do. Because he asked him, in the beginning, he's like, do you think you're going to make the debate stage? Yeah, sure. I'll have some nice announcements. And then he just goes right into his campaign speech. They're trying to help him at the same time, gain popularity in the polls so that he can remain in the race. Because he's only useful if he remains in the race. Go ahead.
Now, they are obviously doing propaganda for him because no one in the Republican Party wants Chris Christie, but the way you put it is perfect. He's a media plant for Democrats. And here he is on MSNBC, essentially doing PR for Democrats because his strategy is, I want to be a Republican who runs in the Republican primary, but I'm going to repeat Democrat talking points. Like, the same thing that Nikki Haley's doing. Nikki Haley and Mike Pence, they have this 3D chess 200 IQ plan, CJ. Your plan is to steal the Republican primary from Donald Trump by repeating Democrat talking points on January 6th.
Yes.
They're like, they are going farther than most American people will go. I mean, and not a Democrat thing. It's most people shake and nod their head at this bullshit. And not just Republicans that see January 6th as the joke that it is. It's the general populace.
Do you think
they're running on that, CJ? Go ahead, CJ. Go ahead, brother.
Do you think that they believe there are Republicans watching CNN and MSNBC? Do you believe that? Like what percentage are they from their point of view? Or this is the part that I wanted to insert. Or is this to keep Democratic voters hopeful? You get what I'm saying? Look, there's Republicans saying stuff that we're saying, guys. So come on, stay invested. Don't get disillusioned because Cornel West is in the race. Don't get disillusioned because I was going to say dementia, but Joe Biden has dementia. Like, people are like their enthusiasm level is going down, so they need to have something to say. Look, see, we can get some Republicans to cross over and vote for him. See, look at Chris Christie, and that's what they're trying to sell. That might be the key because there's no Republicans watching the show. There's no Republicans watching.
I don't know if in the very beginning, because I didn't see this whole segment. I saw the very beginning of it when I was channel flipping earlier. And in the very beginning of the segment, I don't know if you have it loaded. If you do you mind going back?
I do.
Go
to
the very beginning. It's not gonna take long. Just play the beginning because I saw something that was very funny, and I'm gonna show you guys how desperate MSNBC is to manufacture consent. What I'm looking for at the very beginning of the segment, if I remember correctly.
So I did skip over the dissent. So I can start it at the dissent, so you know what he's referring to in this conversation. Yeah. So we'll start here.
I think it's pretty clear that the media does not want me to be the candidate. I think that they've tried to create narratives that somehow the race is over. This is going to be a state-by-state contest. We've worked really hard to build the type of organization in places like Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina that you need to actually be able to win these early contests. And we're going to continue doing that. We got a lot of work, but we've had very, very favorable response, and we're going to keep building off that momentum. At the end of the day, I think the fact that I'm the one that's targeted by the media, by the left, even by the president of Mexico, is because people know that I will beat Biden, and they know that I will actually deliver on all these issues and beat the Democrats at the border, beat them on things like ESG, beat them on things like crime, and they don't want to see that. And so we're going to keep telling the truth, and I think you're going to see good results.
Not the media that has him down 30 points to Donald Trump in the polls. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis blaming the media, though, for those lacking polls that was during an interview on Fox.
I wasn't planning on commenting on it, but since we watched it, this is how delusional is DeSantis, where he's saying that, the media doesn't want me to win. Nigga, Fox News is the reason why you got a candidacy, sir. How many segments have you seen and we've seen on Fox News where they're pretending that Ron DeSantis is a fucking thing? They praising him. And this is what the right wing does that annoy the shit out of me, where they were like, oh my God, the media is super liberal. They're super pro in the tank for Democrats. Nigga, you know, right wing radio and conservative news is way bigger than liberal media.
Way bigger.
And we criticize both. We criticize both. But this thing where people that's part of the duopoly feel like they're the enemy of the establishment, where the media hates me. No, Democrat media hates you. Republican public loves you. But see, I keep going. I just want to make that quick.
Yeah, I mean, like Breitbart too.
All right, what poppin', JB? Let's introduce.
Sorry.
Yeah,
no worries. I don't have my screen up. All right, there it goes, JB.
I think it's a good starting point. JB, what's popping, brother? You're looking sharp as hell. I think his screen froze right when we got him in. I think his screen froze. Anyway, let's continue the video and JB come right back. There he is.
There he goes. There he's back. Yeah, there he goes.
Kind of. JB, can you
I
hear
think
us?
there he's moved. You move right there. There you go.
Hey guys.
Anyway, JB, you're looking sharp as hell.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. My internet had went off just for a second, but good to see all of you guys here. Good to see my brothers. Yeah, so I know it's been a while, but I've been doing my show and then also doing the Marxism class, which I got to go to in a little bit, but I just wanted to pop in just to say hello and see how you guys are doing. And today on my show today, I had on Akila Nai from the African People's Socialist Party. We were talking about the recent indictments from the FBI for quote unquote Russian collusion, which is complete and utter fabrication by the Justice Department. And so we were talking about that, about the reactions of the community and how there have been an influx of support. Also about the support from Dr. Cornel West actually giving support to the African People's Socialist Party, basically saying that, this is wrong what the Justice Department is doing against them as well. And also one of the things that I discussed as well was what's going on in Somalia really is just a permanent mainstay that the United States military is doing there just so that they can continuously make money off of the destabilization in the region. So that's what they're doing there, and how they really just do not have any means to actually leave. They want to keep al-Shabaab there. They want to keep the radicalization of members in there so that they can continuously keep it on a feedback loop. And then I also talked about Keith Olbermann and his
we're gonna get to that today.
Yeah, so I cannot wait for your guys' take on that, but I gave my take on it already. And so this is going to be interesting. What Keith Olbermann said to Dr. Cornel West is absolutely reprehensible. And he basically shows us what, and I'm just saying this for myself, until before you guys get to yours, but this is basically what the moderates and liberals, this is who they are. Make no mistake about it. This is what they're about. And so I want people to use this as a wake-up call to walk away from the duopoly, because this is exactly how they feel about us. So basically that's
it. Spot on.
You're not a brother that follow in line, then you some sort of nefarious agent that is working in bad faith. But anyway, let's get back to the segment here, because I wanted to go back to the very beginning. Because we watched Chris Christie obviously being the inside man for the Democratic Party, the media man, and he benefits. Everyone benefits from this arrangement. As we explained before, we all know he's not going to win. He stands no chance. Everyone knows he's not going to win. But when you Chris Christie, this can help you sell books. This can help you get more influence, so you can get lobbying positions. So this is a great position. This is a great position for Chris Christie to be. Because think about Chris Christie's 3-4 years ago, completely irrelevant. Considered a joke in politics. He was a disgrace. A politician who resigned because he had bridge controversies. He was massively corrupt. No one took him seriously. That's why he jumped on a Trump train. Then that fell. Now he on to the next grift. These people are grifters. They don't believe in anything. When it suits Chris Christie to be a Trumper, he's a Trumper. When it suits him to be this anti-MAGA Republican, he's an anti-MAGA Republican. And I'm going to show you guys how we know MSNBC is doing purposeful propaganda and a manufacturing mistake, because the beginning of the segment actually says everything. Let's play it, CJ.
Yeah, so I'll start it right. Listen to the description of the host of DeSantis poll numbers, and then he turns to a guy who has lower poll numbers. DeSantis, Ah!
Let's
listen. All right.
Really hard to build the type of organization in places like Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina that you need to actually be able to win these early contests. And we're going to continue doing that. We got a lot of work, but we've had very, very favorable response, and we're going to keep building off that momentum. At the end of the day, I think the fact that I'm the one that's targeted by the media, by the left, even by the president of Mexico, is because people know that I will beat Biden, and they know that I will actually deliver on all these issues and beat the Democrats at the border, beat them on things like ESG, beat them on things like crime, and they don't want to see that. And so we're going to keep telling the truth, and I think you're going to see good results.
Not the media that has him down 30 points to Donald Trump in the polls. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis blaming the media, though, for those lagging poll numbers. That was during an interview on Fox Business News yesterday. Joining us now, Republican presidential candidate, former governor of the great state of New Jersey, Chris Christie. Governor, it's great to have you back on the show. Welcome.
Good to see you, Willie.
So a lot of people have been watching you operate, going after Donald Trump in a way that no one else has. They like what they hear, but they wonder what is the path to the nomination.
That's point.
There it is. Go back 15 seconds. You guys want to hear it again. Go back 15 seconds. Play it again. You guys see the introduction? Play it again.
Former governor of the great state of New Jersey, Chris Christie. Governor, it's great to have you back on the show. Welcome.
Good to see you, Willie.
So a lot of people have been watching you operate, going after Donald Trump in a way that no one else has. They like what they hear, but they wonder.
They like what they hear, CJ. You got see the desperation?
Where's the proof? Where's the
textbook manufacturing consent. Oh, we had Chris Christie here. He making waves, son. Yeah, his polling is literally 20 times less than Ron DeSantis. But meanwhile, he's shit on Ron DeSantis' first polling numbers. Then he introduced Chris Christie. Yeah, Chris Christie, I heard you got a great message that everyone's excited about. Yeah, that's not him just giving his opinion. What Mika Brzezinski said. Mika Brzezinski said their job is to tell people how to think. See, when they say that, they want you to think, oh, I guess Chris Christie is saying some good things about Donald Trump. There's going to be a lot of dumb boomer liberals. They're like, man, I thought Chris Christie was corrupt, but I guess he actually saying some good stuff about Donald Trump. And then when he says that, a lot of people are talking about you. No one is talking about Chris Christie except you guys. Not a single fucking person. We got to see the man. That's the part I want to show.
Hilarious.
Now, I don't know if you had anything else you want to share because I want to kind of pivot on the same topic.
Yeah, go ahead, pivot if you want to.
I know you covered this before, but I want to show you guys that part there because we do these propaganda reports to show you the rank propaganda that come for our cable news networks. And I often say, I say this from the second I became a citizen journalist. Back when I only had like 10 to 15,000 followers, I used to tweet stuff out like, the United States is the most propagandized country in the world. And then when I first tweet that shit out, people were like, oh, man, nigga, you just trying to get clicks. Nigga, you just trying to be outrageous. Right? That's kind of the general reaction I got. Obviously, I got a few likes out of it. But there'll always be some person that was kind of similar to Paul as I am. They're like, yeah, Nick, I hear what you're saying, but come on, man. What about China and North Korea? That's what people used to say. Now, 2023, fast forward 3.5 years later since I started being a citizen journalist, now I would tweet the United States is the most propagandized country in the world with no pushback. No pushback. I used to get pushback. No one believes that. No one. And I watched Jimmy's show last night. And Jimmy also saying it as well. He said United States is the most propagandized nation in the world. Now, this illusion that you somehow getting better news on MSNBC, CNN, instead of Fox News is dead. It's dead. I remember I was a teenager. I was a young preteen. I used to watch Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert back when I was a teenager, right? Very cringe time in my life, right? I used to like Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert. Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert's analysis of politics is that everything that's going wrong in our country is because of Fox News. That was the general theme of the show. That's why I grew out of that because I realized they didn't have a substitute critique of our system. They didn't have a Marxist critique of our system based on material realities. They're just like, oh my God, look at what Sean Hannity said. This is why our country's so fucked up, right? And that will a lot of people believe, including people who consider themselves to be serious commentators. Now, CJ, I know you covered this story before, but I must, because we do these propaganda segments. So our community is smart because we're trying to cultivate a smart working class. See, I know you covered this before, but humor me because I didn't get a chance to comment on this.
No. Let's do it again. I got some new material.
This doesn't have to be a long segment because I want to chime in on this. I didn't get a chance to. Because the idea that MSNBC and CNN is any different from Fox News is an absurd take to our community. Because why? Why is that? Because we do propaganda report. We cover Morning Joe. When people are like, why you guys cover Morning Joe? We cover Morning Joe and cover what these people saying because we want you guys to know what the Democrat boomer liberal is thinking, how they are programmed. And we are showing you guys how MSNBC, CNN, their propaganda is as bad as Fox News, as bad as any other quote unquote state media. And through watching segment after segment every single week on RBN, you will get that message. Meanwhile, on the other hand, look at the quality analysis that you're getting among the professional managerial class. I know I won't let's break it down, and I'll get you guys in here.
That like the critique of corporate media, yes, you can apply it to Fox, to CNN, to MSNBC, and say these are major corporations that are in they're doing news for profit, and that creates a perverse incentive set. But then there's the massive critique about Fox News, which is separate from the overall corporate media critique, which is that they're a literal propaganda outfit. And conflating MSNBC and Fox News is irresponsible because you can the criticism of Fox News.
So Fox News is a literal propaganda outlet compared to MSNBC, who is not a literal propaganda.
Wait. Hold up. I have not seen this, so this is all.
I can't wait to get your response. No, I can't wait to get your response, JB, because this shit get cringer as we go. Believe it or not. This shit get cringe. Okay. I'm gonna let it play all the way through a short clip, and since DJ covered it before, I'm not gonna hang it too much on it. So let's watch it. I think this relates because when you see that Chris Christie shit, blatant propaganda, rank propaganda. We showed you rank propaganda last night. Every goddamn RBN show, we are showing you guys how MSNBC and CNN is programming American minds. But according to the smart degree earning, I'm just a dumb college dropout. So Emma Vigeland and this person, whoever the fuck she is, they are the smart professional managerial class, people with degrees who study political science. They know more stuff than we do. We just the dumb blacks, right? So this is their analysis of this
literal propaganda outfit. And conflating MSNBC and Fox News is irresponsible because
oh fuck, my internet acting. Hopefully
you can the criticism of Fox, the criticism of MSNBC is that they are a corporate entity and that maybe they work too closely with some of the Democratic operatives. Fox is on another level, and I hate the false equivalence that I see sometimes online about that.
Oh, absolutely. Also, Fox just lies constantly. So there's that. There's like
Fox News lies constantly, but not Joe Scarborough. And our audience knows how ridiculous this is because we do propaganda report every episode. Every episode, we show you guys some insane clip. If you look at our last live stream, I saw the comments. Everyone's like, Jesus Christ, that intro clip was crazy. Like when we show MSNBC, the reaction you guys have never ceased to amuse me because it's so absurd that anyone buys this, but they buy it. They buy it. Anyway, let me finish the clip, and I'll get you in, JB, because I know you want to chime in because let me finish. I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
Truth, a little bit of truth, and just all lie. All propaganda.
Some of the speculation on Russiagate on Maddow every night was ridiculous. It was like a completely dartboard.
Wait, pause. This is one of those Charlie Murphy things when he's like when Rick James was like, yeah, what do I look like? Just kicking my feet on Eddie's couch. Yeah, I remember kicking my feet on Eddie's couch. Like the next sentence. This just literally just happened right now. She says, yeah, because Fox News they literally lie. And then Emma proceeds to talk about the literal lie on everybody else's channel. It's ridiculous. That's one of those moments. When I saw that, I started cracking up. I was like,
there's another part that's funny. And I'm saving JB's response for the end because there's another part that's extremely funny. Go ahead, JB.
Hang on, CJ. Propaganda is a hell of a drug.
Yes.
Now, I'm gonna show you guys the funniest part of this clip. I'm gonna rewind it maybe like 10 seconds. I'll show you the funniest part of this clip because me and CJ, we have a great time doing the show because we always on the same page, and we don't do, whether you guys believe it or not, we don't do like pre-show meetups. We just come like maybe 5 minutes before the show. Be like, all right, let's throw everything together. And our show works because we are usually on the same page.
Yeah.
These people are doing this shit lib dance where they kind of wondering how far the other's gonna go into shit lib territory. Like when they had this conversation, it's very uncomfortable. This conversation because Emma, like, I don't know how far shit libby you're gonna go, but we already said some shit lib nonsense. Where I said that MSNBC is better than Fox News, so I'm gonna cut my shit libby off here. Meanwhile, the Karen on the right here. If sees Emma Vigeland, she sees her shit libness, and she's like, I'm gonna double down on that nonsense. This is the funniest part of the clip. Now let's watch. I'm gonna get JB in here.
Completely dartboard on Russiagate on Maddow every night was ridiculous. It was like a completely dartboard Charlie Day meme, ridiculous levels. And I think we've conceded that point. But the lying I think she convinced herself of a lot of crazy shit. But the lying on Fox News is systemic.
Yeah, absolutely. That being said, that Russia stuff was riveting and not wrong in a lot of those, like in a lot of cases.
What's up?
So Emma realizing they are in deep shit lib shit here. Which you're like, yeah, I know I'm a shit lib, liberal, Democrat, but I think we should back away from Russiagate. I think Russiagate is not true. So then her host, like, no, motherfucker, I'm full shit lib. That Russiagate shit was real. And then look at Emma's reaction at the end when she was like, holy shit. What did she say? No, let's listen to what she said again. So Emma, with the first rational take I ever heard, even though she compounded it with a bad take, then she said, yeah, even though you point out, CJ, how she contradicted herself. She said MSNBC doesn't lie like Fox News, and then she brings up a lie. So Emma, being influenced by apparently the Jimmy Dore left, where we are the people who called out Russiagate. So it took years. Sam Cedar went on MSNBC and pushed Russiagate. So it took years, but finally Emma is finally acknowledging that Russiagate is bullshit. And then her shitlib co-host ruins it and leaves her in an extremely awkward spot. JB, I'll get you in, but let's watch this last part again.
Is systemic.
Yeah, absolutely. That being said, that Russia stuff was riveting and not wrong in a lot of those, like in a lot of cases.
What's up?
Yeah. Emma's like, you really went that far. Emma's like, we wasn't supposed to go that far into shit lib territory. But this lady on the right has no boundaries. She's like, I wanted to shill for the Democratic Party. I wanted to be a ranking peer. I don't give a fuck about reason at all. So there's levels to this shit. But anyway, JB, go ahead. I ran enough. JB, I want to get your take on this. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. JB is speechless.
I got nothing. Look, hold up. They're like, one's worse than the other.
Yes.
And I'm like, wait a minute. But they're owned by a lot of the same corporations? What does that mean then if one is slightly better than the other? Like, okay, if you want to say the good cop, bad cop routine, I'm like, okay, you can say that, right? Like one acts like they're the good cop, the other one acts like they're the bad cop. But in the end, they're under the same captain. They're in the same institution. So therefore, how is one really better than the other? That's all it really is. And I've used this analogy and I'll use it again. It is just like going to when you have that KFC and Taco Bell half and half restaurant. And you go in and you go to the KFC side and you're like, okay, I want to get me a 2-piece of the biscuit. But then guess what? They treat you bad. So then you're like, all right, I'm going to go get myself a quesarito. I'm going over to the other side. But they're still owned by the same dude.
And then Emma even mentions that. You notice in the clip, Emma like, yeah, MSNBC has some corporate influence. As if that's not a big deal. What corporations, Emma? You mean Raytheon and Pfizer and Moderna? It's not like they're taking money from mom and pop shops. Like she's like, not a big deal. Go ahead, JB.
But why are you and false equivalents? They're equal. Look, I don't care if it's look, they're all owned by Vanguard, State Street, and what's the other one? BlackRock. So if they're all owned by the same people, what makes them any different? That doesn't make them any different.
MSNBC is warmongers with kindness, JB. they spread propaganda for the Democrats, who are inherently good, and this is their tell. The fact that they are sympathetic to the Democratic Party, because they will acknowledge that they do the propaganda for Democrats, but to them the means justify the ends. Yeah, you're a propaganda outlet, but you help my team. Yeah, you lying rankly, but you help my team. Go ahead, JB.
But that's like either slapping us or slapping us and saying Black Lives Matter. Which one would you rather have? Oh, you're still slapping us, but the other one's saying, oh, but your life still matters. But just slap me in the face. Like, what? How does that make any sense?
So that the other host, is her name Francisca? I don't know anything about
Francesca. I looked her up. Her name is Francesca. She's a comedian. She comes out of the comedian.
Oh, no fucking way.
World. Yeah, no, she does stand-up comedy. That's what a lot of these people, like, literally, I'm kidding you not. I mean, even Jimmy Dore, they come out of the comedy world because they do political comedy. My brother is a comedian. He does political comedy too. So he makes fun of the duopoly, and he goes ahead and vote for him anyway. But go ahead.
And this is what they're the complaints you hear from Jimmy Dore all the time, that the comedians are cowards. Now, I grew up with very edgy, establishment pushing comedians. Like George Carlin had a giant influence on my life. I don't know, like Eddie Griffin. I don't know if you guys know. Eddie Griffin is the most underrated. He's the most underrated fucking stand-up comic that ever lived. His stand-ups, and I remember the ones from the mid 2000s. This motherfucker was spitting facts against the establishment. If you guys want to know why Eddie Griffin's career stalled after Undercover Brother,
that's the reason
Eddie
why.
Griffin was supposed to be the next big fucking thing. He was supposed to be the next Kevin Hart, I mean. And then he had, remember, Undercover Brother. I love that movie. I watched that when I was like 10, 12. I fucking love that movie. And he supposed to be the next standout star, but they couldn't control that motherfucker. They couldn't control him. He had stand-up routines that was edgy and raw as fuck. And now that brand of comedy is dead. Everyone gives George Carlin flowers. He deserves it. But Eddie Griffin, I think, is someone who's extremely slept on. You look at some of his, he got a YouTube channel. I don't agree with everything he says, but you see, he's not a standard liberal.
It's the dumbing down of political discourse, because people would go. Those would be some of the biggest comedians. And Black comedians have always been political. They always have politics laced throughout their comedy. But Richard Pryor used to talk about, and they would go and just have frank discussion. It was allowed. Just like if you look at old Donahue talks, it was allowed. And now it's just they're not going to allow any sort of comment that's really challenging the establishment to get out. It'll never be a George Carlin ever again. But there'll be these people who roll over into the liberal. So Keith Olbermann used to do comedy. If you didn't know that, Keith Olbermann used to do like a lot of them. They come out of the comedy world and they go that way. Yeah,
class rules it all, because apparently you become a successful comedian. You get wealthy, you get successful, and then you turn to a fucking shit lib, apparently. Because I'm very fascinated about that host on the right. Never heard. I've seen her face. I'm not going to lie. I've seen her face maybe once or twice. I don't know anything about it. I didn't even know her name. But this may be the second clip I've ever seen her on. I am extremely impressed by her. She found a way to outflank Emma Vigeland from the right. She found a way to make Emma Vigeland sound rational. Because Emma Vigeland, like, this Russiagate shit. Yeah, we was wrong about it for years. At least she admits she was wrong about it. Then this quote-unquote comedian comes and say, yeah, I know, but wasn't it kind of true? That's the funniest fucking shit I ever seen in my life. But anyway, I just want to put that in after our MSNBC segment, because as you guys see, every show, we hammer how ridiculous our propaganda is, come from all sides. And the reason why they are able to say that stuff, the reason why they're able to program their audience like that, because they don't. They're not critically analyzing what Joe Scarborough and the Democrats say. Because once you do, you realize there's no lesser two evils, because they're all ran by psychopaths. Anyway, CJ, I'll pass it to you. That's her right there.
Just showing who she is. That's her name, just so we can give her respect to say, now we know her name. Francesca, we'll call her. So, but yeah, she's does comedy. Yeah.
Fiorentini.
All right.
So I gotta get going, guys, because I have my class in less than 10
Mark's
minutes.
class, yes.
Yeah, so I'll be going into that. It's been going good, guys. This is a good
you're
class,
sharp.
man. Yeah. So if you guys, if any of you want to get into a basics in Marxism class, or if you guys they stream them. Midwestern Marx actually does a basics in Marxism class. If you guys would like to go to their channel, you guys can go to their channel probably, sometime, after, they're done with RBN Live, tune in. You guys can just go there and watch it on the rewatch. I'll be in the class. I won't be saying much though, because I'll be have my head in the book. But go ahead and go there. It's a great way to really get some information on how to use dialectical materialism when it comes to analyzing the world around you, and then utilizing that type of knowledge in order to help you in your organizing. So I encourage you guys to do that. And then I will be on I forgot the name. There's going to be a channel. There's a new channel that I'll be on later this week on Thursday. So I'll be going there on there. It's called Left Side Chat. So I'll be on that channel on this Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, be sure to tune in to the Sabi and JB show this Thursday at 6 p.m. And then I'll be doing my readings from Assata Shakur's autobiography, as well as the book by Dr. Devon Price. So, yeah. So, guys, it was a great conversation. Good to see you guys again.
Yes.
And we had fun.
JB analysis is becoming so sharp, and that class, you can tell, is paying dividends. So, thank you for dropping by, JB. Make sure you got to check out JB channel. Always covering a lot of great substance stuff.
All right,
it's gonna be pretty busy week for RBN members. I'm gonna be on Due Distance tomorrow, and also gonna be on the Glenn Greenwald show.
I'm gonna be there too. They told me about coming, and I said, I have to ask my wife, and I did ask her. I forgot. I haven't responded to them yet, but yes, I got confirmation. So we both will be joining.
Yeah, I'm glad you're able to join because I got Nick at Night as well, and I have Aaron Good. I can't find this guy's name. Aaron Good joined me for Nick at Night on Wednesday, and I'm trying to make sure I don't want to disrespect. He's bringing on. Hold on, let me. Thank you for joining us, JB.
Go ahead, JB.
Yeah, you can bounce whenever you're ready. We're gonna have on. I'm trying to get his last name. I know his name. David Talbot. David Talbot joined me and Aaron Good. We're gonna talk about the JFK assassinations, RFK's claim regarding the CIA killing JFK. Aaron Good, you guys know, is a fantastic historian who talks about this all the time. He bringing on another great guy, so he doing us a great favor by getting us a good name. I'm not too familiar, but he's very good regarding everything JFK. So we're gonna talk about that for a little bit. So tomorrow, Nick and CJ will be joining Due Distance, and then Nick at Night with Aaron Good. Thursday I'll be on the Glenn Greenwald System Update again. Always extremely fun to do Glenn Greenwald show. So a lot going on RBN. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell, and make sure you check and see if you're subscribed as well. CJ, anything else you want to add? And I want to cover. We can get to a fun story. We covered
whichever one you start with.
Yeah, RBN vindicated once again. So there's a pattern that I see that you guys are noticing, right? With the RBN, we will come out first on some shit. We will take all the heat.
A lot of heat.
We take all the heat, and then we are vindicated and justified by time. And then people are like, damn, these motherfuckers RBN was right. Oh, shit, I was wrong on this. Will they apologize to us about being wrong or not? They won't do it. Now, the reason why RBN takes the position that we do and we don't buy into civility politics is because we are here to protect and shield the working class from con artists. What was our mission regarding Marianne Williamson? Because there's so many boutique lesbians like, oh my God, RBN, why are you attacking Marianne? Poor Marianne. Why don't you guys just leave her alone?
We had one goal, one goal, and that was for the working class and poor not to invest any money into this nonsense. That's it.
Then the white, liberal, professional managerial class clowns like Cristobal, Kyle Kalinske, Vanguard, and a few others. They were like, how dare you guys? How dare you guys try to spare the working class from another con artist? I don't know if you saw the radar. I saw a 2-minute clip on Twitter regarding with Crystal Ball. She's reacting to AOC endorsing Joe Biden. She's so hurt. She is so hurt.
Oh,
and she's
I'm
talking
gonna
about
cover
how,
that. I haven't seen that. I have to cover that.
Yeah.
Or-
I'm definitely gonna bring this up now. I'm definitely gonna bring this up now.
Oh, if you're gonna play it now, yeah, then we can do it. Shoot, because I haven't seen it.
She's so fucking hurt. Actually, let's play it. I think this worked well with the segment.
Yeah, we can add it to the segment because she's part of this whole thing. We're gonna eventually talk about the staffer and what he says or what the person says. I don't know if it's a he or she or non-binary or whatever. But let's include this video because she's part of the whole reason. She was part of the team that convinced her on national YouTube. Like we saw them say that using those words. Go ahead.
They've been unapologetically propping these people up. And what is the role of the professional managerial class, dumb left, as I explained before? Their job is to never, ever learn from mistakes. They want the left to do the same stupid shit every 2 years. So I am for growth. I am for learning. I'm not going to cancel people. I openly talk about my bad takes on this show all the time. But why do I learn from them? I voted for Obama in 2012 because I thought Mitt Romney was scary, right? I thought Mitt Romney was going to be the next George W. Bush, so I fell for the trick and I voted for Barack Obama. And then after that, I felt so much shame. I learned from my experience, and I voted for Joe Stein in 2016. I supported Bernie Sanders in 2020 for president. I was a supporter of AOC. But after seeing Bernie Sanders and AOC betray us, I learned from my mistake like the left should do. So after seeing Bernie Sanders and AOC, I'm saying there is zero chance of me getting on board with any Democrat running in because we see the hustle. And if you're a candidate, you gotta go above and fucking beyond. I mean, I'm talking about you gotta be better than fucking Rome, who I have immense respect for. You gotta be the best candidate that we ever fucking seen for me ever to convince people to do this shit again. Meanwhile, what Crystal Ball and the Vanguard say? They say, oh, yeah, Marianne wasn't not good as Bernie, but hey, yeah, I know she's not that good, but she's the best we got. You guys see how they want the left to settle for garbage? They want the left to settle for garbage, and they don't want us to learn from our mistakes. So here's Crystal Ball, very prominent Marianne Williamson endorser, being heartbroken over AOC. And the reason why we go after Marianne Williamson the way we do is because we were trying to spare the working class from this defeat again. And this is going to lead to our next story for the people who don't know. We're going to cover, I call this segment Marianne Williamson campaign in shambles. But I guess part 3. I don't know, part 3. how many times your campaign in shambles?
I think
part
we're
3,
7.
Look, who knows? This is we did countless segments of her campaign being in shambles. But then Marianne Williamson go on Crystal Ball show. She'll go on the Vanguard and all the other shit lib shows, and they will ask her no question about her staff, no question about her history of abusing staff. Why people are leaving her campaign. They're like, oh, Marianne, why do you support Medicare for all? That's the question. Anyway, let me play this video for Crystal Ball because it's regarding AOC, but it also plays a purpose for this segment, right? Because I want you to see how deflated Crystal Ball is. Crystal Ball wants this to happen again. We are here to defend the working class. We're here to prevent the working class from going through this garbage again.
To unpack in that short clip. First, AOC says, given that field of Marianne Williamson and Bobby Kennedy, she will back Biden. Apparently, AOC has bought into DC's relentless spin that only candidates officially certified as quote unquote serious by the powers that be are worthy of any consideration. Now, I don't have to point out to you the irony of this stance.
I'm sorry, but I can't help but bring up the fact that Crystal Ball did the same fucking thing she's complaining about. Remember when Crystal Ball told third-party activists to grow up?
Yep.
Oh, if you don't support Marianne Williamson and you want to go through a mystical third party, you need to grow up. That was Crystal Ball. Now, Crystal Ball doing this radar is complaining that the corporate media is anointing serious candidates. That's what you did. You called everyone who didn't support this obvious grifter con artist, Marianne Williamson. You called them, you pretty much called them children.
Unserious.
She stole my fucking term.
She stole it. Yeah, everybody, it's taken. It's in the ether. Yeah, it's just out in the atmosphere now.
Ron told me literally like 6 months into RBN. Like Ron would tell you guys. I had a conversation with Ron. Ron said, "Nick, you need to trademark that shit." And I was like, "Oh, wrong, whatever, get the fuck out of here." Don't listen to that motherfucker, because now everyone's saying it. That's wrong. We had this conversation a long time ago. Like, I'm not that big of a deal. And honestly, I'm not tripping about it. I like the fact that I have influence. I love the fact that people are still in my vernacular. That's just great.
You're shifting culture. You're shifting
so
culture.
I don't need credit for that. But anyway, let's continue, because I just want to point out how Marianne Williamson do the same thing she just accused corporate media of doing. Right. So here it is.
And Bobby Kennedy, she will back Biden. Apparently, AOC has bought into DC's relentless spin that only candidates officially certified as quote unquote serious by the powers that be are worthy of any consideration. Now, I don't have to point out to you the irony of this stance, given that AOC was once a bartender and organizer thoroughly outside the circle of officially sanctioned candidates who ousted a powerful longtime incumbent to the shock and horror of the official Beltway crowd. How quickly she has gone from renegade outsider protesting in the speaker's office to cowed insider. Not long ago, she said in a different country, she and Joe Biden would not even be in the same party. On the other hand, she and Marianne are probably theoretically aligned on like 90% of issues, but elite acceptability now trumps issues for AOC and the rest of the elected left. Second, she says Joe Biden has done, quote, quite well, and then offers up the also officially sanctioned villain of the moment, the Senate and the filibuster, to justify the many failings of the Biden administration. Apparently, quite well, in AOC's estimation, includes accepting a loathsome debt deal, siding with Capitol over workers in a rail strike, abandoning efforts to lift the minimum wage, strengthen unions, widen healthcare access, and a long
she
list
going right?
of
She
other
going
campaign
in on
promises.
her for Marianne.
He also
She
accepts
going
at face
in on
value.
her. Damn, I didn't know she because she didn't have a critique like this pointed, like this, like focused when it happened. But now it's, oh, you gonna do that, AOC? You're not even gonna just sit out for my girl who just married me? It's over. Like now she don't care. She don't care.
Yeah, and that's why I told you guys I don't understand POC leftist culture. And I get this pushback all the time, and I think it's good pushback. People say, why you call them leftists and who's not leftists? I'm like, yeah, I get it, but we are using simple language so people understand what we're talking about. They call themselves leftists, right. And you guys see the difference between us and them. We are real leftists. You see the difference between me and Crystal Ball, the difference between me and the Vanguard is as wide as the ocean is vast, right? So according to the Olbermann left, if you have a standard, and I cannot emphasize this enough. If you have a standard socially conservative Midwestern take on the trans issue, you're canceled. That's when Olbermann has beef with you, when you have the wrong take on the trans issue. But God forbid you're a police state pushing, anti-homeless, capitalist loving thugs like the Young Turks. Before the trans thing, Olbermann was friends with the Young Turks. And she loved the Young Turks. They were very cordial. The TYT like Olbermann so much, they chose her to be the person who they debate regarding criminal justice. Remember, Anna Kasparian, like, I don't want to debate none of you fucking leftists. All you fucking leftists suck. I don't like none of you fucking abolitionists. But Olbermann, we like you though. We like you, Olbermann, so we don't bring you on. Why did they feel so comfortable bringing her on? Because Olbermann loved TYT even when it was pro-war, anti-black, anti-homeless, pro-police, loved them some TYT. But the second TYT says something about trans issues, it's over. Marianne Williamson having issues with labor, like literally committing the cardinal sin among socialists and leftists, being bad on labor. Not a big deal. But RFK disagreeing with you on vaccines, that's the deal breaker. So I'm like, if you have values, that's okay, but I'm asking for consistency from the PNC left where there is none. There is zero consistency. They prop up fucking Zionists, all these horrific people, but God forbid you get a few issues wrong. Anyway, let me continue the video because there's a lot. But and the point I was making, you chimed in, the PMC class is tired of AOC, not because of AOC's record and her abandoning forces voting, et cetera, et cetera. They are really upset at her because they didn't support Marianne Williamson. That's why you're seeing this level of heat on AOC that I have never seen, especially when she endorsed Joe Biden. I see everyone going after AOC. Everyone's now. Back in the day, Jimmy Dore and RBN, y'all just going after AOC for clicks. Back in the day, all you can tell us. Now, the AOC shunned her, Orb, Sugar Mama, Marianne Williamson. Now it's all fucking, we're going all in on AOC now. That's what this radar is. This
you
radar
see how they have the ability to have like to make personal attacks against their friends, their political stance. You get what I'm saying? It's like, it's not that it's their political stance is ingrained in a need, like working class people's political stance are ingrained in a need. That's why they're able to, oh, you don't like Jimmy Dore? Okay, forget single payer health care. You get what I'm saying? Like, forget help force to vote. It's like, it's the ability to allow personalities, because you don't need anything. Your belief is not grounded in a need of something. This is why they're able to just, I'm not going to do that because of this stupid reason or that stupid reason. Why weren't you backing off on or saying this about AOC about those when she actually turned her back on the workers? That's when this heat would have been better to your audience. You get what I'm saying? But now my friend, now I'm willing to do that. It's like, it's just telling you they're never going to fight for what working class people and poor people need. It doesn't benefit them at all. So they're never going to take the fight to where you can actually get anything. Strategy matter. They're always telling us, we just got a different way to get. No, David Sirota, strategy matters. Rubbing two sticks together. Don't tell me that's a strategy. Go ahead, Nick.
So I'm gonna continue the video, and I think Crystal Ball's critique of AOC is on point here. But this is mostly a meltdown because she didn't support her anti-labor friend, Marianne Williamson. That's the starting off point here.
Of the Biden administration. Apparently quite well, in AOC's estimation, includes accepting a loathsome debt deal, siding with capital over workers in a rail strike, abandoning efforts to lift the minimum wage, strengthen unions, widen healthcare access, and a long list of other campaign promises. She also accepts at face value the notion that Biden simply must accept the intransigence of senators like Sinema and Manchin and doesn't have tools of pressure and rewards that he could use at least to try to compel compliance. But really, to look at the personal failings of AOC, it's kind of too easy. It's too obvious at this point. The writing of her fall from renegade to player in the game has been on the wall for quite some time now. And the truth of the matter is, she's really not special. The whole of the elected left has more or less fully fallen in line, scarcely raising a word of dissent, not even demanding on principle that Biden subject himself to debates. But it's not just the elected left. The whole project of leftism focused on a national level seems to have receded. Post-Bernie, the left, which had organized, found community, and created its own media in online spaces, really fractured. There was no clear big goal to keep everyone aligned. People were depressed. They were angry by the way the Bernie campaign ended, understandably so. And once Bernie's campaign was over, the movement he started no longer had a real-world incarnation. And a pandemic locked all of us inside in front of our screens. That made what was left of that movement way too online, and thus extremely vulnerable to the shaping of the amorphous algorithms crafted by our tech oligarchs.
Wow.
Those algorithms, of course, reward drama, they reward conflict, they reward call-outs and destruction. So no one should be surprised that that is exactly what came to dominate the space. Now, you might hope that people with principles would resist the dopamine fuel of clicks and fake outrage, but we are talking about fallible human beings here. From what I can tell.
And Crystal is above it all. Crystal apparently above it all. So there's a lot of things to say. I let it play. I was like seething. There's so many things to say here. For one, her analysis sounds smart. Like, people not paying attention, they're going to hear this analysis like, damn, Crystal Ball really know what's going on. This analysis, the last minute, is completely devoid of facts. That is not what happened. She said, oh, well, the Bernie Sanders movement fractured. Once again, this sounds smart if you don't know what's going on, right? That is not what happened. The liberals exposed themselves. We had liberals in pro-war PMCs in our movement. And they was down for Bernie Sanders because they wanted health care. The second that Bernie Sanders dropped out of the race, they reverted back to Democrats. So she's pretending, oh my God, there's this big left split. No, the true people revealed themselves as just Democrats. There are a lot of people who lied and say they want a political revolution. And we split with the people who lied about that fact. And then she went to attack the online left as if she's not the online left. Hey, Crystal Ball, real quick. Where was you when me and Rome did Tour for the Poor and we were feeding homeless people? So I would consider myself the online left. I'm definitely the online left. 100%. When you look at Twitter, YouTube, we're on Rumble now, definitely online left. But I was at the George Floyd protest. Was you? I was tear gassed by the police. Was you? I gave a speech at the March for Medicare for All. Did you? You gotta see, this radar is so scummy in a lot of ways at the end now. Now think about it now. Because she's trying to cast blame on the online left. You're the online left who does nothing. RBN, who's definitely online, we definitely part of the online left. We are literally organized. CJ just did a mutual aid event a few weeks ago. Sabby got the Boston RBN faction up and running. RBN is the only online leftist that is actually doing shit. And a lot of people on the left who are doing shit are not online. I met a lot of great activists in KC Tennis. I was just in Seattle giving a speech at Worker Strike Back. Where was you, Crystal? So you guys see how the left is actually engaged, but the influential online left like Crystal Ball ignores us. Nigga, there are people on the ground right now doing great work that the real online left like Crystal Ball does not include. But then she goes on and explains how, oh my God, there's these people that causing drama. As if that's not what you're doing. And see, feel free to interrupt because there's so many things to say. Because I was struggling not to interrupt that clip. Well, she's like, yeah, I know it's beneficial to do call-out videos, right? And create drama. That's what you do. So, and I'm explaining this because this is why they're confused. They think they're on our side. They're not on our side. So, Crystal Ball, don't you guys do videos calling out Republicans? Don't you guys do videos calling out Democrats? Why don't that count as outrage drama? Go on Breaking Point channel right now. There's going to be a video of them calling someone out. So what Crystal Ball is really upset about is that the real left, the left that's actually putting in work, we calling you out.
You out. That's the problem.
You out. This is like, oh my God, why do people drama? It's just trying to get clicks. Nigga, for one, you do the same thing. You're just mad because we calling you out. Like the Vanguard, they got upset at us because we called their friends out. They had this meltdown. They're like, oh my God, RBN always calling our friends out. Nigga, you guys call out people all the time. So it's okay to call out Jimmy Dore. It's okay to call out these insignificant people with no power. But the second we call you guys out for being complicit with enabling the Democratic Party, then we outline. You guys see how that last part of radar sounds smart, but it's actually bullshit? It's actually gaslighting. And I can pick up on this like this. I almost want to play the game.
This is the point of view of Jordan Sheraton, too. This is the same point of view of Jordan Sheraton. He pretty much said similar things in the Due Dissidence in other videos where he feels that like when they're the ones that's the target, when they're clearly the ones that's to the right of what most people on the left want, they're to the right of that. So now, because when they were Bernie Sanders, they were to the left of that. That's why they were, jumping for joy, skipping and stuff with everybody holding hands because they were to the left. It was a move, but it kept moving and they stayed in the same place to keep their audience. You get what I'm saying? Absolutely. If they was in the streets and in the community, Nick, they would have known the shifting and they would have went with the community, but they weren't. They steady on the perch trying to preach and not on the streets. And this is why my critique of Jordan Sheraton is so harsh, is because you are in the communities interviewing people and you're still giving PMC shit advice. So you should get the hardest heat because you see the shit. You the one who should be like, nah, y'all better not fuck with no Democrats. You the main one who should be saying that, Jordan. That's the reason.
This motherfucker covered Flint, Michigan, and then endorsed the vice president that was complicit with Flint, Michigan, Joe Biden. Like, that really rubs me the wrong way. Like, a lot of people think I'm harsh on him, and this is why the real reason why he don't like RBN, because I called him out for being a fucking Biden voter. Yeah. So you make money off for our trauma? You get a camera, you got a Patreon, and you put a camera in front of a black family who was poisoned their face, and you got guys sign up to my Patreon, you make a lot of money doing this video, and then you endorse the people responsible for poisoning those people. Kind of upsets me. But anyway, so these people like Jordan Sheraton, Crystal Ball, they will call out everybody. Like they'll call out Dave Rubin for their shift to the right. They'll call out Jimmy Dore for his shift to the right. They'll call out Glenn Greenwald for their shift to the right. But when we call out their shift to the right, oh my God, you guys are peddling drama. who buys this shit anymore? It's almost insulting to our intelligence that they do this, but they're out in fault for it. It's only the Black Radical Marxist Network that is now allowed to lob critiques, apparently. Only professional managerial class liberals apply here, right? So this it was its own segment on its own, but we're going to get to the Marianne Williamson part. Because the reason why I played the video first, because I want to show you guys the disappointment in Crystal Ball's voice here. She is not holding back on AOC. And to credit, I remember I seen a radar from her when she called out AOC for the breaking up the labor strike as well. So you guys are going through this heartbreak. You just explained the fracturing of the Bernie movement that came from massive heartbreak because Bernie didn't perform. He sold us out. But you want to do it again? You want to do it again? Not only do you want to do it again, you brought on Marianne Williamson and allowed her to lie to your audience that her intention was to win the presidency. You allowed her to say that I'm going to win the presidency with no pushback. And you didn't do any pushback because that would be considered uncivil, right? Civility politics once again. So why am I bringing all this up? Because I'm doing a victory dance. If you guys can't tell, we gotta do this every once in a while. Because RBN, we take a lot of smears.
Like we take a lot of hits. We take a lot of hits, and sometimes in the background we have to talk about it. Yeah, go ahead.
I am one of those motherfuckers that will tell you I told you so. Because I want you to learn the lesson. I do. That's a character flaw of mine. Because I don't think some people say it's not a good thing. You should let shit go. No, I'm not one of those people. If you guys went after me and pretend that I was lying, I'm right. You better hope I'm not right if you go after me. You better hope, because I will never let you forget this. You guys think I'm gonna let the Vanguard forget this Marianne Williamson shit? No, nigga. As long as they exist, it's gonna be 2020. Like, hey, Vanguard, remember that time he lied about the dirty break? Remember that time he put Marianne Williamson? So yeah, this is mostly me doing a victory lap because we was as I mentioned before the last segment, we come out first, we take the hits. Now, if you type in Marianne Williamson on Twitter, everyone is going after her. We were the first ones. The first ones. We were the first ones to say, yo, you guys are your fucking mind with the Marianne Williamson shit. And people thought we were divisive. They're like, oh my God, RB, look for clicks. How dare you go after Orb Lady? And what is something that I know you guys know I said, because I said it multiple times when it comes to Marianne Williamson. After our interview, after listening to her answers, it was obvious to me that she's here to sell books. Why do you think she's not taking any hard stances on controversial issues? So when it comes to the Ukraine issue, she repeats what the Democrats say because she don't want to lose a giant market value, a giant part of the market when she sells her books. So if you run as a third-party candidate, you're not going to have access to book sales among Democrats because Democrats will hate your ass for running third-party. So you run Democrats so Democrats don't Roth Nader at your ass so you can endorse Joe Biden. And then while you endorse Joe Biden, you sell your book. You know how I know this? If I notes are fucking dumbass, guys, you want to know how I know this? Because I pay attention to politics. How many times we seen this? Some motherfucker run for president and then he endorsed the person who wins and then he got a book coming out. That was the entirety of the 2016 and 2020 election. So our politics is people will take advantage of the national stage in order to sell books because capitalists like Marianne Williamson, they're smart. They're like, yo, one of the best ways that I can plug a book is running a national campaign. Niggas will have me on. They ask me questions. I can plug my book multiple times in interviews. And that's one of the things that caught my radar. Every single Marianne Williamson interview that I've seen, she mentioned her goddamn books. Yeah, I actually wrote a book about this. They asked her a tough question. I wrote a book about this. I got a book about this. Then I'm like, yeah, she's definitely fucking selling books. Anyway, so I ran it enough. Let's show the headline. I'm assuming you guys seen it. That's my bad. I need to stop assuming that you guys seen this stuff. So let's read the headline. Marianne Williamson in shambles are being vindicated once again. This is Jeremy Elwood, who have since locked his Facebook account because Marianne Williamson is about to come after this motherfucker. And he's going to mention this at the end of the tweet, at the end of the Facebook post. I don't know if he regrets this, but man, Marianne is about to go after his ass. So let me read. Marianne Williamson, her campaign is not a campaign. It is a book tour. Here's how I know. This is not a random guy. He was the national field director, and he was fired. And that's just a random fucking guy.
It's terrible.
Meanwhile, the Vanguard and Crystal Ball and Kyle Kalinske, they're going to have an interview with Marianne Williamson soon where this shit's not going to come up. Then you had allegations of staff abuse. And it was like, we're going to have an interview with Marianne. We're not going to bring it up. We are serious leftists. We're not going to bring up a labor dispute in that issue. So let me continue. So this is high up on the campaign. I was fired along with anyone who mentioned ballot access or a field plan. Her focus is only on events and social media. I was half joking a month ago that there was a book tour. So while he was on the campaign, he lost faith, CJ. So a month ago, Jeremy made a joke, was like, nigga, this shit a book tour? I'm not shitting on Jeremy at all. I got a lot of respect for Jeremy for admitting and posting this and he putting a lot of risk on himself here. Because I'm gonna show you the next page. You're gonna see what I'm talking about. Right? So before he was fired, he was thinking like, nigga, this is a book tour. But Jeremy, being someone who I think believes in these ideas, like there's no evidence that he's a con artist. He legitimately thinks this is the best thing to do. So he's like, all right, Marianne Williamson, a fucking con artist. So let's see if I can turn this shit around. Even though she's obviously trying to grift the working class, let's try to turn this shit around. And he says, I found out on the day that I was fired that she has a book coming out in September. Who could have saw that coming? And this is what I propose. If any presidential candidate that has a book coming out anytime soon, disqualified. Is that unreasonable? Nope. I think if you want to
answered your own question. Is that unreasonable? Nope.
Nope.
Hey,
because
ahead.
if you want to be leader of a movement, I think you should sacrifice book sales. That's just me. Because we've seen how book sales can be used for corruption. And once again, I am advocating for a left that learned from their mistakes. Cori Bush, a person I would never in a million fucking years thought would sell us out. And I'm telling this as a Missouri activist. Laugh at me if you want. Everyone in Missouri, people in St. Louis, Cori Bush was legit. An actual nurse, actually organized the shit in Ferguson. A real motherfucking activist was Cori Bush. And that's why, as someone who learned from our mistakes, if they turn Cori Bush, they are turning anyone. You know how they turn Cori Bush, CJ? Audience chat? She got a book deal. You guys remember that segment we did last year? Cori Bush, one-term congressperson. No experience. She got a book deal. Surely because the publisher thought she was interesting. No, book deals is a form of corruption. That's how you corrupt people without taking corporate money. And that's so they're not part of our class. So my thing is, knowing this, because we want to left to learn from their experiences, I don't think it's unreasonable for us as a left movement to say, if you want to be our leader, no books. No more fucking books. Anyway, let me continue because I'm still presenting this. So he found out they got a book in September. And even knowing this, Jeremy was still like, man, I believe in this. Let's see if I can flip this around. He said, when I brought this up to a staff call, that we still don't have ballot access in any state. She literally called ballot access mystical stuff. That's a quote. Now, I would love to ask Jeremy about this.
Oh, Nick, this is so good. This is so good.
I told you, this is literally just a pure victory last time. I am very open about that. Because we took shit. I took shit because I have tweets. Here, look, you guys want to see me predicting this? I'll get back to this. This was obvious to fucking everybody. Look at it. Look at the date here. March 6th. 4 months ago, I told you guys this. I said, and this is, I have multiple reasons for making this tweet. I said the same people who have no problem calling poor activists grifters are, and this is what the Vanguard do. Vanguard are being as grifters. That's what the Vanguard says. But while they support a millionaire white woman who is stealing working class money in order to do a book tour. So according to the Vanguard, we're grifters while they are supporting a millionaire white lady who is asking working class people for money for a vanity project no one believes will work. So she just sells a few books. Because according to the Vanguard and the professional managerial class left, the only people who are grifters are poor people. If you're rich and you're trying to get that goddamn bag, they're doing their thing. But if you're black revolutionaries calling out our oppressors, then you're a grifter. Explain how that makes sense. Because this is me predicting this months ago.
So good. This is so
months
good.
ago. This is a fun segment, isn't it? Months ago. Now let's get back to Germany. Now, why do I think this is? Because remember the interview I had where she failed the test in spectacular fashion? Check out my breakdown of that interview I did months ago if you guys want to know what I'm talking about. The moment I realized, even though I had suspicions, the moment I realized that Marianne Williamson was a grifter and that she was just here selling books. Remember the question I asked her, CJ? I said, if people donate money to Bernie Sanders, but they're upset and they don't want to spend money on politicians, what will your message be to them? And her message was fucking vote for someone else. No one who is serious about running, no one who's serious about leadership would ever say that. The second that Marianne Williamson said, oh, if you feel about these things the way you do, don't vote for me. She's saying that because she's like, nigga, I want you out of my grift. I don't want you fuck this shit up. No serious candidate would say that. And that's why in my breakdown video after that, I said after that question, she was done. That's the soundbite I was looking for. I was looking for the sound. Give me a soundbite to justify my position on you. And she gave it to me. People still use that line against me. They say, oh, Nick, you were just looking for soundbite. Yeah. Goddamn right I was. Oh, Nick, you're such a biased journalist.
What do you want? You want him to... Yeah, you want a whole paragraph, nigga? He just wants her admitting to what he's saying already. What's the problem with that? But go ahead, Nick.
People like, Nick, you admitted that you just wanted to do a got you interview. You just wanted your soundbites. Yes! Nigga, I am a biased journalist that's advocating for my community. And I'm trying to prevent people from falling for this fucking grifter. So I'm going to do an interview with her to expose her, not to do fucking PR for her, not to ask her, not to help her sell books like the Cowardly Vanguard and Crystal and Cow. My job is not to ask her I said ask. My job is not to help her sell books. That's why she came on RBN. Despite the fact that we were trashing on her, and you guys see this is what the fucking guy named, the guy, the whistleblower here? I don't want. There's Jeremy. That's what Jeremy says. He says right here, she's interested in just doing media events. So she wanted to come on RBN, even though we most likely will grill her. She's like, I don't care about what question he's asked. I'm gonna give a long diatribe answer without answering the question. So at the end, I can plug a book. So I can get the people to like me, so they can buy my book later. I should say. I wasn't gonna have it. And that's why the Marianne Williamson left melted down. They're like, oh, Nick, you wanted soundbites against her? And they was mad because I got the goddamn soundbites. I got everything I wanted out of that interview, right? So let me continue this because there's so much to break down here. We still got a whole nother fucking page of this. Jeremy,
Nick, I went in this code. I retweeted everything and read comments, but I didn't read this on purpose. Yes. I'm like, oh, I gotta wait for this shit right here. Go ahead.
Oh, I love that CJ coming to the story code. I love it. I love breaking new shit to my friend. So they explain how she's, and I don't know the context of this. I would love to see Jeremy expand on this because he used quotes here. So I'm taking him at his word here. Since you quoted her saying that means apparently she says that ballot access is mystical stuff. Do you guys remember the people who criticized Dr. Cornel West? You have Marianne Williamson supporters that say that Dr. Cornel West should run as a Democrat because you don't have ballot access. Why would they support Marianne Williamson who don't care about ballot access?
It's a joke.
Jokes on top of jokes, beneath jokes. They just openly hypocritical. They criticize Dr. Cornel West for him and Jill Stein have a plan to get ballot access in 47 states. But before they even revealed their plan, and even before they got to work, literally the week that Dr. Cornel West announced, before any effort was made, these people say, oh my God, this is not a serious campaign. They don't got ballot access. Meanwhile, those same people were propping up Marianne Williamson, who called ballot access mystical stuff. I hope through this presentation that you guys see how big of a clown that Marianne Williamson supporters was. And if I was one of the people that came out early in support of Marianne Williamson, I would be so goddamn embarrassed. And a lot of them are running away from this issue. You guys see, a lot of them not going to report on this shit, right? Coward shit. So I took an L on Bernie Sanders and AOC. I took a giant L, propping those people up. So what do I do in response? I'm like, I'm going to make up for all the times I fucking shield for these people, and I'm going to bash these motherfuckers because I feel like I have an obligation to do so after telling people they was good people. The Marianne people, they helped her grift out, and they're not going to have no accountability, no responsibility, no retraction. Watch all the channels that's not going to cover this story. And that's the first step to forgiveness, right?
admitting what you done.
I propped up Bernie Sanders. That was my bad. So now I go after Bernie Sanders all the time because I was wrong about him. Search my tweets. Look at all the segments we do. I'm making up for lost time. What Marianne Wilson's supporters gonna do? They're gonna pretend that they never supported her in the first place. Now there's gonna be people like the Vanguard who can't hide their support for her, but there's gonna be a ton of people that are gonna delete tweets and they're gonna pretend this shit never happened instead of calling her out like they should. They should be, and instead of us, they should be the number one people calling out Marianne Wilson because they fooled them. Anyway, this is a ranty ass segment. Let me continue. So this story is so fucking so funny. I could not wait till RBN Live today just to talk about this. Now, Jeremy says, myself, the national field director, and my partner field strategist were let go after we toiled to make a solid national field plan. And Marianne Wilson, like, get the fuck out of here with that serious shit. You're not doing serious shit here. I'm here to go on Counting Crystal Friends. I'm here to go on the Vanguard and sell books. Y'all niggas don't get this? Y'all know how manufactured consent works, right? So they don't tell people the con. Morning Joe and their people around him, they got the job because they know. They are promoted. That's the theory behind Noam Chomsky manufacturing consent. The people are there are the people that you don't have to tell, right? So Marianne Wilson accidentally hired some real motherfuckers who thought there was actually a campaign, and Marianne Wilson fired them because she's like, nigga, they did not pass. They did not realize what I was doing here. People like Peter Dow and many other campaign people like Jeremy, they wasn't on the same board as Marianne, like the same way MSNBC, CNN, and corporate campaigns, they would be on the same board. Yeah, this is a grift. Like everyone on Chris Christie's campaign, who we covered earlier, they know what the fuck that campaign is about. There's no one here advocating Chris Christie taking shit seriously. They're not saying, hey man, Chris Christie, that's January 6th shit. You probably should ease up on that. They're not doing that because they know their role. Now, there are people who was hired by Marianne who did not know that she was just selling books. So Marianne quickly fired her ass. And people like Crystal Ball, Vanguard, and many others had no questions or criticism of that. Very interesting, isn't it? Now, they were let go after we told to make a solid national field plan and had to pivot to political director roles to fill gaps so we can finish the field plan. We weren't allowed to complete our roles because of mystical stuff. So this is incredible. Like these people will try and do their jobs. Marianne Wilson,
this is crazy. This is crazy to me.
Crazy L on everybody who supported Marianne Williamson. You need to own it. I'm not letting these people forget. Y'all own this shit. So as a left movement, we can learn and move on. If you're not acknowledging this shit, you're not learning, you're not moving on. At RBN, we advocate for a left movement that learn and live and learn. And we called Marianne Williamson out as a fraud and charlatan that she is because we've seen frauds and charlatans before. And she smelled like a motherfucker. We sniffed her out like a motherfucker. That's obviously a fraud. The people was living in copium. Vanguard, it was in hopium. Oh, she's a good person because she was nice to me on the interview. But anyway, this is a fun segment. Let me continue. We got another page here. Marianne has fired those who know how to make a campaign win and kept and promoted those who are only event and social media aware of the book tour.
Pause. This is why Peter Dow was gone?
Yes.
Because Peter Dow knows his way around democratic politics and magically he's gone. This is it. Because listen at that line. She fires anybody who's competent to actually do anything electorally. Making sense now. It's all makes sense.
Everything
this is what I tell my kids all the time. The truth makes sense. That's how I know you lying to my kids because I can spot a lie. I'm like, because the truth makes sense. Human nature sense. It makes sense. Now, when you were wondering, oh, what happened with Peter Dow? What happened with Jason Cole? What was really going on? Now we're seeing. Now we're going. Oh, now that makes sense because the truth makes sense. Go ahead, Nick.
Now remember, a lot of these people were not allowed to tell the story because of Marianne Williamson forced them to sign NDAs, right? Non-disclosure agreements. And I don't want to spoil it. You guys can read the bottom of the paragraph here. And he thinks he's going to be in trouble for this. And there's so much shit that the Marianne Williamson former fire staffers. I really want their story. I don't know the detail about the NDA, But the number one question that Marianne Williamson should be asked on literally every single interview moving forward, if she is not, they're not serious, is will you release your formerly fired employees from NDAs? Now, do you guys remember when the Vanguard and the entire professional managerial class left, attacked Jimmy Dore for having a very standard media NDA where people who work for Jimmy's show, because they do their show at home, you're not allowed to talk about personal family business. We'll go on the door home because they have access to that stuff.
Their
That's very
address,
standard.
stuff like that.
Like personal shit. That's the NDA. That's the NDA. Jimmy Dore's NDA is you don't talk about the Dore family. You don't talk about personal issues, right? Very common in media. The Vanguard did a whole fucking stream talking about that shit, pretending that he's doing something unique among the media. Meanwhile, Marianne Williamson has harsh NDAs that prevent people like Jeremy from telling the story on how Marianne Williamson is grifting workers. Vanguard, completely silent on that. The entire left that attacked Jimmy Dore for that, completely silent on that. Are we going to allow them to get away with this? This is why I told you so. It's because I'm not. I'm not going to let these people get away with that. So this is what he continues. She fired everyone who has any semblance of field.
Wow.
She fired anyone who has any semblance of field experience, I think that's supposed to be. But anyone who was serious about winning, she's like, nigga, get out of here. Get the fuck out of here. And once again, I don't give people benefit. I think the Vanguard and the Crystal people know this. They play their fucking role. I don't think they are. Anyway, let me continue. She promoted the New Hampshire state director to campaign manager. His name is Carlos. He knows nothing about national campaigns.
And he's a Democratic bootlicker. He's a Biden bootlicker. He already said, again, go watch the Bad Faith interview. He does, this person, Carlos Cardona, along with the Texas director, he's one of the people who have left. He resigned. The Texas state director resigned last week. Like, these people are dropping like flies, and they're all Democratic bootlickers, and they say it in the interview. Oh, well, yeah, we're going to support Joe Biden anyway. Whoever the nominee is. But go ahead.
He knows nothing about national campaigns. Meanwhile, Jeremy worked on national campaigns for 8 years. But the deeply serious Marianne Williamson campaigns, I'm gonna flip the coin on Carlos. Because Carlos not gonna ask me any hard questions. He's not gonna question this grift. Carlos is here for the ride. He explained how he had no experience in the field whatsoever. And this is this statement on is how you know Jeremy had enough of her fucking shit. Cause this is where he spikes the ball in her face. Marianne is a grifter. Do not support her. She's here to sell her book coming out in September, and that is all she is here for. If she wanted to win, she would listen to the multitude of experts that was on her campaign before she fired them for giving advice and direction. I work for her, and I am all the more sad for it because I was duped. I thought I was more aware than that. Now, we are trying to prevent people from being in the situation that Jeremy's in. Well, Jeremy, props to him. He wanted to take the L like I am in certain things. He's taking the L that he felt for Marianne Williamson. Our coverage on Marianne Williamson from day one was to prevent this. Was to prevent people from wasting their labor hours. How many workers donated to her? Do anyone have a number? How much money did the working class waste on her? And not a lot, because her campaign being shambles.
So it said, if there is a report I read, the report was about her staff losing staff, and in the report, there's one sentence that makes reference to the amount of money, and it says, it is believed that she was going to report that she has raised less than $1 million, which is basically she needs to hang up shop already. But that's to believe what the records show when she files with the FCC.
I'm glad that they had to use the only amount on that, but she grifted $1 million of working class money, fam.
Yes.
So Vanguard, Crystal, Cal, as far as I'm concerned, you motherfuckers owe us $1 million for helping her do this shit. How do you think Marianne Williamson was able to get $1 million out of her shambles of a campaign? Cal and Crystal, hey, look, we got Marianne Williamson. She's gonna challenge Joe Biden, and then all their boutique supporters don't answer to Marianne Williamson. All the people who believe they are anti-establishment, who trust Breaking Points, gave the money to Marianne Williamson because of them. There are a lot of people who think they're on the left who watch Vanguard, right? Who gave money to Marianne Williamson because the Vanguard endorsed them. So you motherfuckers owe some money. You guys are in debt to the working class, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, I'm gonna read the last part. I'll put the comment off just so we can see the last part here, because this part here says everything. Now, this is why Peter Dow is not speaking now. And this is why every single fucking person who interviews Marianne Williamson from here on out, if you don't ask her about releasing former employees from NDAs, you're here to do propaganda for her, and you're here to help her sell books. So keep an eye out. See what channels is going to avoid this question. So this is what Jeremy says, who knows he in deep shit after this post. He has since locked his account. God knows what nasty email Marianne probably sent him. He says, go ahead, Marianne, shoot me with a cease and desist, because I would do neither. Your campaign has no hold because you are a grifting fraud. So anyone that acknowledges Marianne Williamson's grift of the working class, Marianne Williamson sends them a cease and desist letter. You better not fucking stop me from stealing money from working class people. I am trying to make money and raise money and sell books to desperate people. You better not fucking ruin this for me. If you do, I'm going to sue you into oblivion. That's Marianne Williamson. That's the person that so many people threw their integrity away to support. Suing people she's willing to sue people because they want to warn workers about her grift. Does it get any more scummy than that? Who's the biggest scumbag? That's as big as a scumbag movie as you get. The people who legitimately wanted to make a difference, even though they were misguided, we believe that Jeremy was misguided, but he wanted to make a difference. So despite him trying to make a difference, he realized she's a fucking con artist, and he want to tell people, but he can't. Peter Dow probably want to tell people, but he can't. How many of those campaign managers want to tell people he can't? They wish they can warn motherfuckers about the Marianne Williamson campaign, but they can't, because her millionaire ass is going to sue you for preventing her grift on workers. Absolutely fucking disgusting. And I lost all respect for anyone propping her up. I literally, I unfollow people I saw propping her up. I'm like, how fucking stupid you have to fucking be? Like, how stupid you have to be to fall for this obvious con woman. So we, as a left movement, as people who are supposed to be class conscious, y'all decided to pick a millionaire white woman as the leader of the movement. And now I can say it because now it resonates more. When I said it at the beginning, you got people like, oh, nigga, you didn't ring. What are you talking about? She's a millionaire, but she cares about us. Now there's no denying. As I said before, I said this is class war. And anyone who's class loyal to the workers, propping up this millionaire fraud who was made by Oprah, needs to be shamed. The Vanguard needs to be shamed. Cal and Crystal need to be shamed. And if I was them, I would be embarrassed to show myself to you motherfuckers. If I took an L this drastic.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my last thought. CJ, I think this is a fun segment. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
Yeah, I just want to read can you read a couple of the quote tweets, the ones that got
that's a good idea.
Numbers?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Read a couple of comments, and I'm curious to know who actually commented on it. So I'm curious to see.
That's actually a good idea. That's a good way to end the segment. That's a good idea. So I'm gonna show you guys, because bro, look how big this tweet is. His tweet is blowing the fuck up. It was like only a few quote tweets when I found out, like, and then now everyone's on it, right?
Well, tell me what it is. I can't see it. Tell me the number of likes and the number of retweets.
There's
tweets, whatever you want to give me.
Almost 1,200 likes now, 582 retweets, 123 quote tweets. And if you're not on Twitter, guys, that's a ton. Like,
that's a lot.
Just for people don't know,
tweets,
that's a fucking ton. If you got 100 quote tweets, that means your ass is probably getting roasted, or the subject of the conversation being roasted. So you want to know who else called it? Not only did I call it, our friend of the show, our honorary RBN member, Comrade Misty, called it in 2019. Based as Misty, dude. In 2019, she said that she's too woo for me, and I think she's most likely in it to boost book sales. That was 2019 from Comrade Misty. And then from this year in April, she says, I'm calling it a book sales campaign. Meanwhile, Misty is blocked by the entirety of the Bernie Sanders love. Yeah, I know, like, Misty is my homie. Like, Misty is blocked by fucking everybody because Misty was one of the first people calling out Bernie, AOC, and she go hard on Marianne. Now she hurting a ton of RFK Jr. fans too. Like, me and Misty got the same vibe. If you looking for heroes, you probably these people up, we're gonna hurt your feelings, right? So this is Comrade Misty calling it the book sales campaign. It grosses me out the same way I'm grossed out. She knows she cannot win, and yet she's straight up lying about that and taking people's money. But the professional managerial class is like, we do that too. Like you said, you got to see how this wasn't the red line. That was the red line we called out from day one. Why the fuck you taking our money if you're not serious? That's the first goddamn question I asked her. Meanwhile, among the professional managerial class, not at all concerned for them. Yeah, the workers got a little bit to spare here. And they don't call it out because they, in a certain way, they rely on tricking for work. Meanwhile, let's look at a few more responses. It's a good idea to show a few of them because she was getting, Marianne Williamson getting destroyed. And I saw quite a few. Hopefully I'll find them because I don't follow a lot of these people. I saw them when I was looking through the reactions. There are a lot of Marianne Williamson supporters who are renouncing their support after this report. So this is, I know we did many Marianne Williamson campaign is in shambles segments, but this is D1. I saw a tweet that she sent out an hour before the stream, and she was already starting to get racial because people asking her about this. I saw like 3 comments in on her last tweet, like, hey, Marianne, you gonna address this shit? So anyway, this is Nico House, my brother. He's like, I can't believe anyone took Marianne Williamson's campaign seriously, especially considering she never gave them a reason to believe that. The same people who laughed at Tosi and most recently Dr. West, accusing them of grifting, but took Marianne at her word. Interesting, isn't it? I think it is very, as a Marxist, I find it extremely interesting because it's class loyalty on display. This is Robert Durden, enough friend of the show. This Marianne Williamson campaign will be the punchline of jokes for decades to come. I will be making a punchline. I'm gonna be telling you, I'll tell you go for it, quite a bit. So I'm kind of scrolling through here because I want to show you. I want to see if I can. This is Russell. This is from Due Dissonance. So I'll read his. I want to see if I can find people who are not in our audience, right? But anyway, here's Russell. We're gonna join them on Due Dissonance tomorrow. So do Cal and Crystal apologize now to the poor suckers in their audience that they've been scamming into this BS? Our boy Russell. Exactly what I was on. I think they should. Because she raised that million because of Kyle and Crystal. Let's be real. Vanguard influenced that channel. They fucking relevant. But that was Kyle and Crystal. I just like talking shit about them because they think they're right. And they took so many else. They took so many else. So many else. Like if I took as many L's as the Vanguard, I was shut the fuck about everybody. I was just focused on covering news. I was shut the fuck up about covering people. If I took as many L's as the L Guard, I think that's what we should start calling them. The L Guard.
The L Guard.
If you guys don't know that stands for lost.
The L Guard.
Let's get an L Guard in the chat. That's who they are.
That's an L Guard take. That's an L Guard take, buddy. Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm gonna start saying that. I'm gonna start saying, oh, that's an L Guard take. Get the fuck out of here. Get that L Guard out of here. Because it's funny because they think they can step to me. They think they can step to us, and they scared of debate. The L Guard was scared to debate Jackson Hinkle. Scared to debate us. No bigger. They got the giant L. Anyway, that's all I say. Anyway, let's move on. I'm gonna see if I can find people who are not in my community. That's my tweet you saw. But we're pretty much at the end of the segment. I'll see if I can find another good one. Like you see, everyone, all the comments here are roasting her. Like you guys see my audience comment. I never took her campaign seriously to begin with, so there's a lot of that. I read this one. Thanks to Crystal Ball and Cal Kalinske, bro. Once again, if I was a Marianne Williamson supporter, I'd be embarrassed. They all taking hits. They really threw their integrity out of the window for her, and now people are acknowledging that. I think Zachary is a mutual, I believe.
You know, Nick. It feels good. Today's a good day because when you're vindicated, it's a feeling of man. You think back all that freaking issues, all the headaches during that time when I was standing up on what I believe and what I know to be true. But I had so much incoming because they thought it was something else. And now It's like, man, it's like a boxer that trains. It's like, man, but when you win that fight, it's like, oh, that work I did. Okay, now it feels, if you feel like a weight is lifted, like, man, this is okay, it was worth it. And that's what it feels like right now.
And people are not gonna forget that we was out in front. And once again, you can see a ton of tweets criticizing Marianne, but we was the first fucking ones, guys. We was one took all the brunt of the heat. Then after a while, once our argument became more, it was obvious that we was right. Then you start seeing more people speaking in criticism of Marianne Williamson. That when you start seeing that when it became socially acceptable to criticize Marianne Williamson. So I'm very happy about this. I'm glad that this fraud was exposed. I'm gonna see if I can get to some actual replies. My quote tweets, anyone in the quote tweets roasting her. Look at that. That word. She's getting fucked. Like, and Cal and Crystal are getting tagged in like every tweet, guys. Look at this.
Wow.
Everyone's tagging them. They're like, hey, yo, you guys want to hold this L for us? Luckily, the Vanguard is not relevant enough.
You want to hold this L, please?
But yeah, you have to check this right out. It's very funny.
No, that's a
I'll be honest.
vindication.
I will be honest. It was very cathartic reading through all these comments. Because we stood for our values. We preached what we believe was true, and we called her out for the fraud that she is. We called her out for the fraud that she is, and even though we took heat from the fake left over it, we stood our ground because we like, nigga, we care about protecting the workers. We care about protecting the people who actually gonna put work for the movement. Kyle and Crystal, the Vanguard, they plan on putting no work in this movement. You want to know who's gonna put work in this movement? Misguided or not, Jeremy. Misguided or not, Jeremy is gonna do something that he believes gonna improve the quality of life of people. Right? We want to prevent Jeremy from doing shit like this. And I'm glad. I think we've convinced quite a few people in our community not to even entertain this bullshit at Marianne Williamson. So, if you're a Marianne Williamson supporter, early supporter, you got a lot of catching up to do. You owe us at least one Marianne Williamson bashing segment a week after fucking her up. Like I'm still to this day paying my debt for propping up Bernie Sanders. Everything applied to him, Marianne, applied to me too. I helped Bernie with his hustle of the working class, technically, right? That's why I'm paying my dues back. I'm going after this motherfucker. Right? I'm making videos talking about these motherfuckers. I got so many people who at first like, Nick, I thought you was hard on Bernie Sanders. Now they're like, yeah, fuck Bernie. You know how many people I got to say fuck Bernie Sanders? Because there were people in my own community that thought I was too hard on him at one point. And I see a lot of those people flipped. So that's me paying my dues back after propping up this charlatan. And Marianne Williamson supporters, once again, you guys owe us at least one hit piece a week now to make up for helping her raise $1 million. People, I see that pass to you. I won't cover NATO.
Yeah, we can cover some super chats. Let me do the Keith Olbermann story. As a
absolutely.
I want to do a video, preface it like you did. It's kind of it's together. It's all about Cornel West, but I need to start with another video before we get to the Keith Olbermann.
No, yeah.
So go ahead if you want to read some super chats.
Yeah, I've been running enough, so it's on you. I'll just read super chats and I'll pass it to you. This is Black Floyd.
He was supposed to come to the event, our Skid Row event last month. He was supposed to come and something happened. So this is him just letting us know what it was. But you can go ahead and read it.
Yeah. Sorry for the missed signals. I was in Long Beach that day, and you were in LA. I'm still interested in community action. Big shout out to Black Floyd. Let me know. Still got those cases of H2O to give out. Peace, comrade. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're gonna do an event in July. It might get pushed only because I had to do that move. I'm usually gonna do one every month, but because I had to do that move, it may not be because we also the weekend I could do it is the weekend we're gonna be doing the labor organizing summit. So it's probably the week after we're gonna be doing another event down there at Black Floyd. So look out for an email.
I don't know if this is actually Jackson Hinkle's account, but Jackson Hinkle says that Jimmy Dore should have ran. Now, I actually disagree. I think Jimmy is effective where he's at. Like
where he's at is where
he's good. Like Dr. Cornel,
I don't think he's on YouTube. I don't think that might be fake. I don't think he's on YouTube.
I think that's fake, but I think that's that could be fake. But I disagree with that. I think that Jimmy is good where he's at. Someone like Dr. Cornel West is good. Someone who was already respected by the establishment, but who is crystal clear on issues like NATO and Ukraine. good on Palestine as well. He got that professional managerial class aura of respectability while at the same time being hated by them because of the stances he takes. Now, a lot of them, like Keith Olbermann, CJ in the segment coming up next, is going to say how like liberals like, yeah, we used to like Dr. Cornel West, but he's done now. How dare you cross the Democrat Party? Anyway, thank you for the $5. JB looking fire. CJ and Nick too. Don't get me wrong. Happy B-Day, everyone. Thank you for the $5. Philosophical thirst worms. Some of these PMC types will rip a medical for all bill in half if the bill mentions. That's funny as hell. They say a lot of these PMCs, like that's Olbermann. That's Olbermann if the medical for all bill. Olbermann, anyway, is the red line for PMCs really trans issue, not war or economy? And the thing is, guys, you see how I feel about this. I share my opinion about the trans issue. I think people who are igniting this trans culture war, the people who can't fucking mind their own goddamn business. I am very libertarian by nature. I am one of the people that believe in live and let live. I don't want you to tell me what the fuck I'm doing. So I actually got a lot of disdain when people tell other people what the fuck they're doing. You know what I mean? So that's why I would never. There are people that in the comments are dismayed every time. Nick, why can't you be a transphobe like us? No, Nick, I'm okay with people living how the fuck they want, right? It's just that simple. But these PMCs that taking this issue and they elevating over war and economy, they endorsing war criminals, but someone having a bad take on the trans issue is a careful take. I am confused by that. You guys see how I'm consistent. I don't like people who judge people based on how they live. I generally don't like social conservatism, but I'm also calling the war out too. I'm also standing up for the works too. The PMCs are only doing one.
Right.
I'm standing for Palestinian issues. Well, no one's standing for Palestinian issues. I'm standing for issues of the black community, which the entire white left abandoned. When talk about reparations, watch how Weasley mouth these motherfuckers. They are against reparations, but they want us to support deeply unpopular trans shit. Which, once again, I generally support it because I believe in letting people do whatever the fuck they want, and I don't believe the government should tell people what they want. Because I questioned someone on Twitter about this before. I'm like, okay, you talking about a trans issue? That's not even a political issue. I'm saying that's not a political issue because it had nothing to do with the government. Meaning the government should have nothing to do with the trans issue at all. So I asked them, like, what do you want the government to do with a trans issue? Do you want the government to ban people from being trans? I am against that. I don't think the government, the same way I was against mandates, because I am against the government telling you what you could do against your body. You are not really against my body, my choice if you bending on that. You know, you're not really for free speech if you're bending on that. I'm for free speech, but. And a lot of these anti-trans people, they're like, I am for body autonomy, but accept the trans issue. No, nigga, you either for body autonomy or you're not. The same reason I'm against mandates is the same reason I believe the government should stay the fuck out of those issues, right? Anyway, I just want to make my position clear because I think you can have both those positions. I had that position while at the same time I'm cringing at the PNC fucks who holds this as the number one fucking issue because I don't think it's a political issue. I don't think it should be. It is, but I don't think it should be. But anyway, thank you for $5. There was a very funny comment. Thank you for $5, Christian. No reparations, no vote. Funny, I just mentioned that. Like they will vote for people who don't give a fuck about reparations. They don't care about reparations at all. But God forbid someone not 100% on board with trans stuff. And once again, as a black person, this shit bothers me. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. This should get me in trouble, but this shit bothers me that the trans issue is way more elevated than anything going on in the black community. Y'all niggas are okay with Biden and Democrats who fund the police. They all these people who implement anti-black policies. That's not a red line. But any trans shit is? Like that shit rubs me the wrong way. And that comes from someone who's obviously, based on my last rant, stand in solidarity with trans people. Why do trans lives matter more than black lives? To Olbermann, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway, let me read the comment. No reparations, no vote. No anti-black hate crime, no vote. Cut my ADOS and FBA brothers and sisters them check with interest. Dr. Cornel West, 2024. What a base comment by Christian. We have 5 more super chats I'm going to read before I cut it off, and then we read the rest at the end after CJ segment. Thank you for 499. Kareen, stop voting for these assholes. Absolutely. Like I said in my intro, my AOC TikTok, I propose the left treat Biden voters the same way they would treat us if we vote for Trump. Like, if we endorse Trump, we would be ostracized for the community. Why don't we do it for Biden, who got a record similar to Trump? That's a simple question I keep asking people. Thank for $5. Ruthless criticism. Why do you guys hate books so much? Are you anti-intellectual or something? Not referring with the comment. I'm not sure what this comment referring to on RBN. I've been very open about this. I think we need to push back against a dumb anti-intellectual movement.
Yeah.
I did. How many rants have I done, Chad, talking about this? So I'm not sure this is a new viewer or what. I don't know what sparked this comment, but that is like opposite the messaging that we had on RBN. I've been talking about having a smart left. I propose having monthly theory reading. JB, who was on the show earlier, literally taking Marxism classes. So I have no idea what this person's talking about.
Yeah, it could be sarcasm. I don't know, or just
I don't know. Maybe it's sarcasm.
That doesn't know us.
Like,
yeah, they don't know.
If you guys are using sarcasm, because you got to trick me all the fucking time. Use an exclamation. Use an exclamation point, guys. Like that makes sarcasm sound sarcastic. And a lot of people don't understand. If you say sarcastic,
oh yeah, that's sarcastic. Because you know why? JB was talking about books. Remember, he was talking about the books.
Oh, okay, that makes
reading
sense.
when he left. So that's probably sarcasm. Now that I think about it. Okay, go ahead.
Like you guys gotta. Like we got trolls, motherfucker. There's trolls on YouTube. Y'all gotta give us some sort of fucking
a heads up.
Something. Maybe hashtag S, nigga. You guys be tricking me
LOL or something
all the time. And I see everyone saying sarcasm. I'm like, how the fuck I'm supposed to know? I recognize some of you guys. I can't recognize everybody. So please. You put explanation marks, right? Anyway, let me see if I can show you. Oh damn, I can't. Not a big deal. Anyway, thank you for $5. Prana. I don't want to mispronounce your name, but Marxist Leninists and the burden of always being right. What a base comment. That is the burden of Marxist Leninists. We are always right. And a quick rant related to this is how right wingers can't admit that Marxists are right. What do I mean by this? So there's right wingers right now that's calling out the World Economic Forum. You guys seen this?
Mm-hmm.
The right wingers are calling out the World Economic Forum. They say, "Oh my God, all these globalists are getting together." No, nigga. The World Economic Forum is quite literally what Marx and Marxists predict. What do you think happened when you got global, unchecked financial capitalism? Those capitalists make alliances with each other and carve up land. This is literally what Marxists predict. So, in order to prevent admitting that Marxists are correct, they create bullshit terms that are made up. They create a term called globalists. And oh my God, look at all these globalists. You mean the capitalists? And then, oh no, the globalists are different. They're a different form of capitalists who actually believe in bad stuff. They're the capitalists who believe in bad stuff. Like, no, nigga, this is the end result. Accumulation of capital, them band up together, carving lands, implementing government policy that benefit them. That is literally what Marxism said that capitalism will devolve into. So, but they don't want to admit we was right, so they create bullshit terms like globalists. We got good capitalists on our side. It's just the globalists. Anyway, that's short rant. I'll keep it short. 3 more super chats. Then we went past you, CJ. Thank you for 999 Nick. Your rants are epic. I think that's why the Nick and CJ show work. I feel bad.
It works.
It works.
No,
CJ
we rant. We like I'll rant on some stuff. You rant on stuff. So it evens out.
Yeah, and CJ triggered me too. CJ and I did tell, like, sometimes I will have stories I won't tell CJ I'm gonna cover just because I want to elicit a raw. And not the same when you know what's gonna happen. But anyway, I appreciate that. This show is very cathartic to do. So those rants keep me sane. They keep me sane. Thank you for $5. Nick, you have no guilt. Response to Bernie, he was just a very talented grifter. You acted in good faith, and you are not responsible for his actions. Absolutely. And I told you guys, I still don't regret being on the campaign because I flipped a lot of people to the left. But I do feel a sense of responsibility because how many people donated to Bernie because of me? And these are things that, like, I'm willing to acknowledge that I want to take that L. And your comment is very nice, but I feel like it was a learning experience for me. That if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be the guy I am now. The Bernie disappointment radicalized and blackened my heart and created the Marxists that you know today. I talked about this before. The reason why I'm versed in theory is because of Bernie, because the failure of his campaign. And I'm not saying that in a positive way, because I truly believed in what these social democrats were saying, the strategy of the Democrat socialists. Then once they were proven wrong, not once but twice, and then they sold us out, I completely threw the ideology in the garbage, right? Then I started embracing people like Rome who had criticism of social democrats. I heard the criticism that like Rome and other Marxist-Leninists have with social democrats. But I'm like, all right, I'll keep that in mind. Because I want the people to take info. But after the social democrats fell, I'm like, all right, you niggas are garbage. I'm done with you. Then I start like, all right, I'm gonna need to read other tactics. I need to expand my horizon. I start reading more Black Panthers. I start reading more Lenin. I'm like, all right. Then when I'm like, oh shit, the social democrats were really far behind. Of course, that once I read more, I'm like, of course they failed. Like I was blindsided. I was laughing at myself all the time. I was blindsided by Bernie losing. The only reason I invested in the campaign because I thought we was gonna win. Like, look at my old tweets. Maybe I did old videos. I don't know how old my YouTube is, but I used to talk all the time like, yeah, we gonna win this shit. But now that I know what I know now that I read the Marxism that I read the theory, I read history. Of course we was gonna lose. The idea that I thought we was gonna win was silly. Meanwhile, I shut up. I'll pass to CJ. Thank you for the comment, Janice. I'll read I see 2 more super chats, but I'll read it after CJ's story. So yeah,
let's get to the Keith Olbermann story, and we're gonna start. It's about I'm gonna say it from the point of view of people that may not have seen it, and from both point of views. Anyway, Keith Olbermann pretty much goes pretty hard at Cornel West for pointing out something about NATO of all things. This is what he chooses to go after him on. But before I get into the story, 514 likes. We had 800 people watching. Let's get another 100 likes on the board so we can get some more people in here. This is an important conversation because it's important to talk about the Cornel West campaign and always, getting people to understand this is for movement building. We're not at all expecting him to win necessarily. This is for movement building. So what does this candidacy produce? Produces that we can take as a movement and continue moving forward is how I'm looking at it. So to set that stage, now let's get to this video of CNN. CNN had these 2 Black representatives to talk about Cornel West. And this video went a little viral. It's about to hit 1,000 likes. But if we all remember, David Axelrod had put out a tweet but mentioning how past Green Party people affected the election this way. Cornel West's campaign is likely to do the same. He basically said that. Now, because of that, they do this segment on CNN. So this is where we're going to start before we get to the Keith Olbermann part, because they're related. So let's listen, and not to the whole thing. We're gonna probably watch maybe 3 minutes of this, just of when them going through about 3 minutes. I'll just keep it there.
Risky business. Former senior advisor to President Obama, David Axelrod, could be facing a third-party spoiler, specifically from Green Party candidate Cornel West. Axelrod tweeting, quote, "In 2016, the Green Party played an outsized role in tipping the election to Donald Trump. Now, with Cornel West as their likely nominee, they could easily do it again. Risky business." This comes as less than 40% of Americans say they view Biden or Trump favorably. Almost 1 in 4 voters, in fact, say they don't like either candidate, which is a key part of Cornel West's pitch.
I just thought about all the creative, imaginative, courageous fellow citizens that I meet. And how do we end up with the 2 candidates? Trump on the one hand, Biden on the other. Good God. With Brother Trump, you've got a gangster in the objective sense. And with Biden, again, I love the brother, but he's a hypocrite. And he's pushing toward World War III when you talk about what he has to say about China and Russia.
Out front now, Joe Biden, Republican
These 2 guys right here.
Former Republican candidate for U.S. Senate. Democratic strategist, former executive director of the New York State Democratic Party.
So one black guy from the left, one black guy from the right.
Sort of nodding your heads as we were playing that sound from Cornel West, which was so interesting.
Because everybody loves Cornel West
in progressive politics sometimes. So now we see where he's going. This recent NBC News poll really stood out to me. 45% of Democrats say they'd consider backing a third-party candidate. Compare that to 34% of Republicans. How concerned do you think Joe Biden should be tonight?
You should be a little concerned. And I would say this because my affinity with to Cornel West, he's my frat brother. I got my PhD in part because I was drawn intellectually to the heft of his scholarship. So he resonates, and he has resonated particularly with the African-American community for for decades, frankly. So if you're Joe Biden, you know this is likely to be a close race, whether it's DeSantis or Trump, whoever it is, that it's those margins in some states, in a handful of states, where this third-party candidate could be effective, particularly when you look at 2022, you see that numbers, especially in the African-American community, were not where the Democrats needed them to be. So if there is concern about how close the general election might be, with memories of Jill Stein from 2016, this should concern Biden and Democrats a little bit, based on the issues that Cornel West will be able to address.
So a little bit of a concern for Biden and the Democrats. What about for the Republicans?
Well, look,
Now, the first guy is the Democrat. So you think, oh, that's the best that's going to be said in this interview. But surprisingly, the Republican guy is a little more based. Now, let's listen to what he says here about, or from his perspective.
I think for me personally, if Democrats seem to think that Cornel West is the problem, then they don't seem to recognize why they lost to President Trump in 2016 in the first place. It certainly was not because of Jill Stein. It was because there was a blue collar revolt from people who felt that the Democratic Party had left them behind. And so for me, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, you see somebody like Cornel West, who, politics aside, has dedicated his life to justice, the only thing they should have to say to him is thank you. And instead, they send somebody like David Axelrod, the architect of the Obama generation, to go out there and take the hats to him, to try to marginalize him, which I think, again, plays into exactly everything he's talking about, that this is a party that is more concerned with the status quo than they are with the safety and security of Black and brown communities. And I would also say,
isn't that what you say all the time, Nick?
Yep.
They're more
Yep.
concerned with the status quo than
Yep.
what's going on in Black and brown communities. You just made a point about how, the funny the police, oh, that's okay. So it's not a big deal. But it's something else is the more important. He's speaking to that point. Let me continue the video.
that we can't forget that this is the same Cornel West that, again, was ostracized because he wanted to support somebody like Bernie Sanders that wanted to push a little further, was ostracized because he wanted to have a Black State of the Union back with Tavis Smiley to talk about what was rightfully owed to a Black community that came out in record numbers to help elect the first Black president. So again, for me, it just confirms what many believe is that the Democratic Party seemingly has forgotten about what they claim is their core conviction, trying to make sure they can deliver results to multi-generational poverty and despair for the people that effectively are the bedrock of that party.
That's extremely based. Go ahead.
He's a Republican. Like,
yes, that's what I'm saying.
And I'm very hesitant to praise this guy, but I'm always going to pull it back in relation to this. Compare his analysis of Dr. Cornel West versus the AOC and Bernie Sanders, who still supporting Joe Biden and the Democratic Party. Why does it take a Black Republican to say this while the boutique left is still supporting Jim Crow Joe and the anti-Black Democratic Party? There are still the people that say that Dr. Cornel West should run in this party that's not going to treat them fairly. It is a shame that we got to rely on these people to have sensible takes on these things.
Yes. Now, just wanted to play that part because they're going to veer off. After that, she didn't have any comeback to what they were saying. So then she's going to veer off and talks about AOC support of Joe Biden and all that. So now let's go to the Keith Olbermann part of this. You hear in that first video the fear, or at least one of them say, yeah, Joe Biden campaign should fear this, what's going on with Cornel West, because he could be effective in those swing states where every vote, literally, it can come down to 100 people, 200 people as the different counts. So let's move to this part. This is something Cornel West tweeted out, and we read it in another segment. It wasn't about this because we knew, we didn't know we're going to be doing this segment with Keith Olbermann reacting to this tweet, which to me it's kind of weird that he has the reaction he has about NATO. So is he defending NATO or is he defending Joe Biden? So because it's weird to come after him after this tweet. So let me read this here, or both. He could be doing both. Let us be not deceived. NATO is an expanding instrument of U.S. global power that provoked Russia into a criminal invasion and occupation of Ukraine.
Based.
This proxy war between the American Empire and the U.S. Federation could lead to World War III.
Russian Federation.
We must. I'm sorry. What did I say? I'm sorry. Russian Federation could lead to World War III. We must stop the war and war crimes, including cluster bombs, used by all parties, and embark on the diplomatic talks that should lead to a just peace. As the great W.E.B. Du Bois wrote in 1945, quote, I seem to see outlined a third world war based on the suppression of Asia and the strangling of Russia, end quote.
Man, what a prediction by W.B. Du Bois.
Yeah, that is amazing.
What a prediction. That's a crazy good prediction. Go ahead.
The Democratic Party is a party of war in Wall Street targeting Russia and China. Let us save our democracy and world by dismantling U.S. militarism at home, as in Cop City. Love how he inserts this here. And abroad, as Martin Luther King Jr. plainly reminded us. Now, not thinking of Keith Olbermann, what in there is triggering here? Like, he literally doesn't even mention Joe Biden. That will be my only critique, if there is a critique. He doesn't say Joe Biden specifically. He says both parties right here. You get what I'm saying? He doesn't say, he says both parties as far as the cluster bombs. So I would say Joe Biden, that would be it. But that's a critique from the left. But he inserts Cop City. What is it that Keith Olbermann has a problem with, Nick? What do you think when you read this, though, as you read it now? Maybe you're having a reaction now. This shit is on point, on point. What's your reaction to the actual tweet before we get to Keith's
this is why
reaction?
This is why we always considered Marianne Williamson's campaign a joke from day one. You guys realize that when you run for president, you're running for the position of commander-in-chief. A lot of people on the left forgot about that. How does it make sense for you to run as president, but you're not running on foreign policy first? A lot of Americans are so propagandized. They're dumb. They're so dumb. They think the president controls legislative agendas. No, the president can sit on support, but that's Congress. If you are someone on the left and you're like, I don't want to talk about foreign policy, it's too complicated. Shut the fuck up and run for House. There's a lot of people that run for president, they think they're going to be weak on foreign policy. I would even say you shouldn't run for Senate because they got very important votes regarding foreign policy as well. You need to stay your ass in the House at best. But this is what Dr. Cornel West is doing, why I think he's running a great campaign thus far. And why I think he's a legitimate challenge to the system, running outside the system. But he's challenging the president on his executive actions, his position as commander-in-chief, and that is the most threatening. Criticizing Biden for not getting Build Back Better done is exactly what the Democrats want you to criticize. That's exactly what they want you to do. And you know what AOC does when she criticizes Democrats on the filibuster? Exactly what they want you to do. But Keith Olbermann, to answer your question, has a response that he does because he viewed Dr. Cornel West as not only a real threat to his political team, the Democrats, but his political ideology. His ideology of imperial conquest and domination. So in order to support NATO and have Putin derangement syndrome the way he does, you got to believe in falsehoods and lies. How do you shut down the imperialists? How do you shut down the neocon? You tell truth. You expose the lies of the U.S. And that is enough to have Keith Olbermann tell him to fuck off. But the funny thing is, the most interesting part, and CJ Pastique, I want you to finish your thought, is what he says after this in response to someone else regarding, I think, like the fuck off comment is actually on point. And that's exactly what I expect from Keith Olbermann. Keith Olbermann has been very, very unhinged, right?
You're talking about this right here.
Yeah,
we're going to get to that,
that comment right there, and I don't want to spoil your presentation, but whenever we get to it, that comment is actually, I think, the most revealing. But go ahead, CJ, I'll pass it to you because I don't want to spoil it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we read Cornel West's tweet, and it's about to hit 23,000. 4.8 people has been in the feed of 4.8 people on Twitter. 4.8 million, I didn't say, and he's about to hit 23,000 likes. Keith Olbermann chimes in here and says, "Fuck off."
Oh yeah, and I also want to mention. Sorry, CJ, but I also want to mention.
No, go ahead.
this goes back to why RBN hates civility politics so much, because you guys know it only goes one way, and this has been the argument I made from day one. Civility politics go one way. The ordinary people, the ruffians, the peasants, we have to be nice to the ruling class, and if we're not, we are expected to be shunned, right? But that civility does not, the ruling class does not follow it. And I'm not even just talking about Twitter. I'm talking about in general. So the same ruling class that says that we must be civil, they are the ones sticking police on us and shooting up with steel encased bullets that they call rubber bullets. Like there's people who had miscarriages because of the use of tear gas. That that's how the establishment replies to us. They reply to us with strict, harsh state violence, brutal legislation going after us. But when it comes to, they want us to hold on to, you gotta be nice, you gotta be civil. That's not how they treat us, not only just in this Twitter exchange, but in general. But anyway, let's continue. I'll pass it to you, CJ. I can't wait to get to the next part.
Yeah, so he says that, and then the guy says, or Christopher Shelley, I think that's what he said, says, such a nice guy, being sarcastic, such a nice guy. Yeah. And then this is Keith Olbermann's reply to that guy.
This is what I find interesting.
Go ahead, you can read it since you. I know you want to.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but this is what I find interesting about this exchange, because Keith Olbermann, and not just Keith, because we all know Keith is a clown, right? But he is saying the quiet part out loud here, and this has been my thesis regarding white liberals from day one. My first article was talking about white liberals, right? My almost entire social media presence is me railing against the white liberal. Why? Because many, not even bad allies, but decent allies have no idea how maliciously evil the white liberal is. So what he's saying is, it don't matter what you do in your life, it don't matter if you're advocating for your community, if you're not following the white liberal in their group, all that shit does not count. So what he said he's undone, Dr. Cornel West undone his entire career by getting manipulated into helping Trump. He can completely fuck off. You too. Now,
how do you undo your entire career? Go ahead, and then I'll ask that question after you finish your.
It's a good question. So what white liberals say is, no matter what you do as a black man, no matter what it is, Dr. Cornel West has done incredible stuff in terms of educating, advocating for the black community. That shit does not matter unless you're advocating for the interests of white liberals, of white America, and the Democratic Party. The second you step out of the Democratic Party plantation, because that's literally what it is. It's literally a plantation. The second you get off, you are the undesirable Negro. Dr. Cornel West, a guy who was massively respected by these people, because he had the audacity to run a third-party campaign against Jim Crow Joe, who has an awful record, now his career is undone. You guys see what that? See, Keith Olbermann is a dumbass because he gives us the sound bites that we want. This is the soundbite I've been looking for, because this is the soundbite. This is the tweet that proves my thesis about white liberals correct. Whether people get upset about it or not, I'm not here to protect the feelings of white America and liberals in general. I'm here to tell you what's going on in your culture while we feel the way that we do. And the reason why I tell you guys I have more smoke for white liberals than the white conservative redneck is that in my entire life, I never had a white redneck talk to me like this. I live in fucking Missouri, sold cars in Kansas, and got along with a lot of these motherfuckers. It's always the white liberal that has some shit to say, that feel like they can smear you. Remember, is it Ben Shapiro going after us? Who smeared RBN? Who smeared RBN? Jordan Chariton for status quo. Mm-hmm. Because we didn't follow the white liberal direction of Jordan Chariton. Who else smeared us? Vanguard smeared us. Hassan Piker smeared us. All these people smear black people the second that we don't go along with them, because they have this feeling of being a white savior, and anything that get in the way of that, they're going to attack and destroy. But anyway, go ahead, CJ. There's a lot, this very, very lot to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me just see if, hold on, right here. What I wanted to, this Bob TV. For those, remember that video I played of Peter Dow, the black guy, the intro video? Bob TV found me and started following me. And I followed him back. But this is the actual guy. That video is a video I play about Peter Dow. this is his reaction. He says, "No, you could completely fuck off. You came undone a long time ago. Trump got you deranged. You are sick. You used to be the man. Now you are mentally insane and need an intervention." And that's what Bob TV. I just wanted to give a shout out to Bob TV. So a couple of other reactions I'll show, and then we'll go ahead and end the segment. And you can do another story if you got any, or we can do some quick stories again.
We can wrap on this one. I don't want to rush to the NATO story, so I might do that tomorrow for Nick and Night. So we can wrap up this segment.
Okay, so here's Sabby, RBN, our RBN sister Sabby. Witness Keith Olbermann's disrespect for Cornel West. It's the same disrespect he had for the black female college basketball player. Keith is the white moderate MLK warned you about. When black people don't get in line, he loses it. He's still on the plantation. Base Sabby.
Yeah, click Sabby's tweet because I seen the tweet, and then scroll down because she has some receipts backing that up because there's a pattern of behavior.
Oh, let me make it a smaller so we can see it better. Okay, so here. Oh, okay. So it continues. So let me continue then. Keith wears the typical quote, "I'm the smart white liberal, so listen to me," end quote, black rimmed glasses, claims that he cares about social rights, but Keith and many like him will kick you out and gentrify your neighborhood. This is why the white moderate is dangerous. And here's her I'm showing. So he replies in the message. Then he also quote tweets the same thing. So 2 times he does the fuck off thing, and that's Keith Olbermann. And then she continues right here. Let's remember what he said to Angel Reese. There's a pattern here. What a fucking idiot. Angel Reese to Catelyn.
And if you guys don't remember, look at Keith Olbermann's response to that black athlete. I didn't do a story on this. I think JB and Sabby covered this. But there was this college basketball game, I guess, that happened, and it was mostly one largely white team, a white girl team, and there was a largely black girl team. And during this finals, there was a ton of trash talk. Like one of the white girls did "you can't see me" shit after she crossed over one of the black girls. Then one other black girl said "fuck you" and like it was a very heated game. That's why it caused a lot of national discussion because they were like, "Man, oh my god, these motherfuckers talking hella shit," and despite the fact that the white team, both teams were doing it. Both teams were talking shit. Keith Olbermann responded to the black athlete, and it's a stop screenshot, but he responded to one of the gifts where she like put this. I said it wrong. I think she was the one who did the "I can't see me" thing. It was her, and she did.
Yeah, she was.
It was all these gifts of her saying "you can't see me." They were talking shit in the middle of the match. But instead of calling out the white athletes who were talking shit, he called out the black athletes and called them a fucking idiot because they had the audacity. So the question Sabby's asking here, why are you calling out one but not the other? Why do you have this standard of respectability for Dr. Cornel West and black athletes, but the white athletes will let off the hook? Once again, and the reason why I point this out, I think it's important for Sabby to point this out, because liberals like Keith Olbermann are the white saviors who will tell you that MAGA's racist. They will tell you that the Republicans are racist, and they are above it all. We are amazing on race issues, but they are not. They are just as problematic on race issues as MAGA. The idea that white liberals just give themselves the pass, "Oh, I vote Democrat. Oh, I voted for Barack Obama 2 times, so I'm not racist." That is bullshit, and everyone will tell you that. But anyway, that was a great thread by Sabby because she came with the receipts.
Just a couple more here. Here's another one from Tim Nielsen. Know him on Twitter. Keith Olbermann telling Cornel West to F off is probably the best endorsement of Cornel West available, and that is absolutely true. And then I have yours too. Let me go to my bookmarks here just to read a couple more reaction here, and then we can close out. I don't think we just missed one story, but we're gonna just push that to another stream. Tomorrow is our appearance on Due Dissidence, so make sure everybody tune in to that. Do you know the time? I'm not looking at the message.
I think it's at 7 Central. That's my time. So 5 your time, I believe.
Okay, yeah, it's 5 my time. Okay, this is the one I wanted to show also. This is, and we can end on this one.
Oh, I was about to show that too. Yeah, look, like, this
okay,
is,
he was gonna show
it.
it.
Yeah, I'm glad he put it up because I almost forgot. I'm glad he put it up. This is the kind of the deeply serious person that we're dealing with here. Now we know Keith Olbermann is a giant psychopath. Like when you look at how he pushed Russiagate, is unhinged, Trump conspiracy theories. He called for everyone to go to war and kill Vladimir Putin. One of the most unhinged motherfuckers that you can find. And this picture sums his character up more than anything. What kind of person takes a photo op with the U.S. flag like this? And the premise, because I remember when this
Wait, no, I thought this was a meme. I thought this was a meme.
This is real,
I thought they inserted his head on.
No, my sweet summer child. My brother. Because I remember when this photo first came out, where he was like, when this photo first came out, he was talking about how the scourge of Trumpism and how we got to protect America. The whole thing was like, oh, we are the side protecting America. So this is me posing with the flag that I love and protect. The most cringe shit that you can find.
Good
You're the guardian of the flag, huh? You're the guardian of the flag. Captain America, Keith Olbermann right now. Imagine taking this picture without it being parody. Like, I can see myself doing this. I can see myself doing this as a parody. Like, if I was parodying someone who's a liberal patriot, I was like, hey, look at me. I'm dressed in the flag. Look how much I love this country. But he's serious. This is dead ass serious. Keith Olbermann, like, I'm going to take a picture with me and my flag. Then everyone will realize how patriotic I am. Unbelievably clown shit. I'm glad that Mark Kimberly tweeted about it as well. Baby needs his blanket.
Wow. I thought that was a total. I thought that was a meme, and I was like, wow.
I think it was in GQ,
this is
if I remember right.
Wow, this makes this worse.
I think this is
but you see
here it is. Let me show you.
You see what the people in the media are used for. They're used to convince you. You got because he used to be in sports also. You build up an audience, and then they do the political bidding of the ruling class.
Look at this.
Ridiculous.
This is worse than I thought. Because I remember when it first dropped. I don't know if you see this, CJ. I remember when it first dropped. Look at how they promoted this. And not only just a photo op, but look at the headline. Watch the resistance with Keith Olbermann. Donald Trump is our next president, which means Keith is not going anywhere. Catch every episode of his new GQ show, The Resistance, and then come join the fight. So, guys, this is the picture that Keith Olbermann used to promote his show. And you guys thought it was a parody. But this is dead ass how they view the world. Vladimir Putin is the bad guy. Donald Trump is the bad guy. I represent the red, white, and blue. We are the good guys. It's literally cartoon shit. The way they view reality. Like, they view real life like a Marvel movie. Vladimir Putin is Thanos. Joe Biden, no, not Joe Biden. No, Keith Olbermann is Captain America. Keith Olbermann is Captain America. Putin is Thanos. Well, I should say, just in relation to this story, because you're talking about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is Thanos, and Keith Olbermann is the Captain America that's going to slay him. That's how childlike their worldview is. But anyway, I just want to show you guys that. CJ, anything else you want to add? We got.
Yeah, let me just read this, and then we'll get to the super chats. Let me read because this is part of the segment. This is what. Oops, did I put it in there? Yeah, this is what Malcolm X says. This is from the autobiography of Malcolm X. Okay. Let me just read the full tweet to give the person credit, because some of you may know who tweeted this out. This is Terrain Walker. This is how Keith Olbermann, enemy of Trump, friend of blacks, responds to Cornel West, Dr. Cornel West. No one should be surprised by this. Over 50 years ago, both Malcolm and MLK told us how white liberals and moderates operate. And he shows both. This on the right, that's MLK, but we're going to read the one on the left, Malcolm X. And let me just read from the autobiography of Malcolm X. You can say for many Southern white people that individually they have been paternalistically helpful to many individual Negroes. But the Northern white man, he grinds with his teeth and his mouth. He has always been full of tricks and lies of equality and integration. When one day all when one day all over America a black hand touched the white man's shoulder, and the white man turned, and there stood the Negro saying, "Me too." Why? The Northern liberal shrank from the black man with as much guilt, dread as any Southern white man. Basically, they're the same here. And this last one from we're not going to read because it's a lot longer, but he goes into it. MLK talks about it too. This isn't the short tweet, the short quote that everybody's accustomed about. White moderates are blah blah blah. This is when they go in depth in talking about it. So I thought it was good to include it in the segment, and we can end it there. Nick, we can get to super chat.
Yeah, we got quite a few super chats. So remember, guys, that we'll be on Due Distance tomorrow. This show has been on fire. Very fun show to do.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely looking forward to that. This is gonna be a very fun week because also on Thursday, I'm going to be joining Glenn Greenwald on System Update. Once again, another great show to do. So make sure you guys check me out on Rumble on Glenn show on Thursday. And also have Aaron Good coming on as well. He's gonna bring on another JFK historian. And we're gonna have, it's not gonna be a long, like Nick and I tomorrow, not gonna be long. I just want to be very substantive. We're gonna talk about the RFK's claims, the JFK assassination. It's gonna be a short stream, but it's gonna be very jam packed with a lot of information. That's the plan for Nick at Night tomorrow, and obviously we'll be at Due Distance as well. So I'm start for the bottom, and we'll try to get caught up. Thank you for the $5. I hope X Division. Love y'all. Keep reporting. That's the plan. Much love to you, my friend. Thank you for the 499. Cool Blue 71. Remember, after Donald Trump took office, Keith Olbermann was on The View expressing that he longed for the presidency of George Bush. Thank you for the 499.
What?
I remember that. That's a memory. I definitely remember. Like Keith Olbermann lost his fucking mind, guys. Like my grandpa used to watch Keith Olbermann. Like, I told the story many times. I'll spare you guys. But one of the reasons I got in politics is because my grandpa used to watch MSNBC all the time. And I remember from a young age, I couldn't explain why, but I knew it was bullshit from day one. Like, I used to watch grandpa watching shit. I'll just be watching it and like, dude, these people are full of shit. I couldn't tell you why, but I know they are. And I used to watch it. I'd be fascinated. And Keith Olbermann was one of the people that you watch all the time. Then Russiagate hit, and this man literally, his brain broke. Like you can see it in real time. Like he had a mental collapse when Donald Trump won. He lost his like no matter whether you like Olbermann before or you didn't like him before, no one can deny he is not the same guy. And I ain't saying that's someone who's I was never a fan of him, but I've seen his old content. He's a completely different guy. Like he's way more. I don't know. It's just like I've never seen anyone brain break from Trump. Maybe Cenk Uygur. Like Cenk Uygur and Keith Olbermann are up there as the two worst cases of Trump derangement syndrome. I'll say that. Thank you for the $10. Anthony in the UK, Nigel Farage and UKIP right wingers did this by forcing the Conservative Party to the right. They had no hope of winning, but achieved a lot, like Brexit. Well said, Anthony. And apparently, I looked at some comments. That was Jackson earlier, so I'm gonna show this because this is what another thing.
Oh, it was him. Okay, it was him.
It was him. I saw a few people confirm it. I confirmed it myself. I read the comment because this is what he said also as well. He said RFK sucks on Israel in solving the Ukraine crisis, though he understands what caused the latter an issue.
What caused the Ukraine crisis?
Yeah, it caused the Ukraine. So pretty much Jackson said he sucks at solving it, which is interesting. So and there was another comment I didn't highlight, but he said that he thinks Jimmy is better because Jimmy has more energy. And Jimmy definitely would have a lot of energy, but I think Dr. Cornel West is the perfect person because obviously we won't buy the nonsense talking points or whatever, but like there's so much liberal hysteria. And then Jimmy Dore, he's just a comedian running. Having someone who was a former Harvard professor who was previously respected by liberals, who now they got to make up a reason why they hate him now. I think that's just a much more solid position. That's a much more solid position to be strategically. And I think Jimmy, where he's at, is best. Like Jimmy is radicalizing a ton of people. His message is so strong that people like Sam Cedar and other guys make a hit video on him all the time to check him. I think he's just much more well used where he's at. And we can take this on as well. Different Steve 99. Please address your use of the N-word. I know you do it in a friendly way, and I'm white, and I have no right to tell you how to speak. But shouldn't we let that word die? Now, Steve, sweet summer child, I'm gonna tell you this. Right
I was gonna tell you to avoid that one because like we read every.
No, I don't mind.
I don't mind.
I'll take
go
it.
ahead.
I'll take it on. I don't mind. So if I didn't use the N-word, you think racism would go away? Like, is that the theory that people have? That, if I didn't say the N-word on this stream and three of my friends that use the N-word, then all of a sudden white people will be okay with us. That we would have reparations, the police will stop killing. Is that the mindset that people have? So I am respectful to my black elders because a lot of people don't know, like, black people, not every black person is okay with the N-word. Like, I don't use it. I don't use the N-word around my elders. I don't use the N-word around my friends. I don't use it in a business setting. I don't use it in public, right? Because I think these are things that we should understand. It don't reflect well on our culture. That's just my personal opinion. But if I'm hanging around my friends, my family, I think it's a positive way to take back the word that was negative. We can joke around. Me and CJ having fun. We use the word as something that we take something that is extremely negative and turn it positive among ourselves, right? But this claim that if I stop saying it, that white people will stop saying it, is absurd at face value. Like, if I didn't say the N-word on this stream, that is not going to stop the hillbilly that lives somewhere in Missouri from saying the N-word all the time. So I think it's a better strategy to reclaim it. The idea that we're going to let it die, that is not true. Like, what smear had, what community allowed a smear to die and it worked? All the Asian smears are still there. All the Latino smears are still there. All the Muslim smears are still there. So I think us reclaiming the word is a powerful strategy. Not talking about you, Steve, but that's shown by a lot of white people who are fucking furious that we did it. Oh my God, you niggas are saying what we can't say it. Every time white people say that, they're like, yep, that's exactly what it is. You guys can stay mad. That's us taking the word back, which I think is way more positive than clicking our heels and pretending that racism will go away just because of the way that we speak amongst ourselves, among our friends. That's an absurd take.
Like, white people got to be in every conversation that's going on. Like, they got to be in everywhere. Like, this is just But let me say this to not to the person, but to the comment. Let me put this up, Nick. There's a song called "Suck a Nigga" by a Tribe Called Quest, and they explain this exact thing, and they say the same thing you say. Like, we're reclaiming the word, and it's basically, the elders have a different point of view. They talk about this in the exact song, and it's called "Suck a Nigga," and it's by a Tribe Called Quest. Look up that song.
Yeah, and people need to understand that the black community is not a monolith on this. Like, I got aunts and uncles I would never say this shit to. Like, they will smack me, and we understand that. We say it's a different culture, and I hope that, like, you guys understand it.
Every culture has it.
Yeah,
every culture has it. It's just that white people got to be in our business, and that's why this shit is.
They can't mind their own goddamn business.
Yeah, because everybody has his word. I know in the Jewish culture, somebody told me in the Italian culture, there's another word that's used for people like that. It's like, so a lot of people have it. It's just that ours is put on Front Street because white people got to be in our conversations. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's why in that response is how I know that our strategy was effective. When you see how mad the white community is that we say but they can't, that's how you know it's working. It's just that serious. It's just that real. But anyway, I'm more happy to take the comment. I think he came in good faith. I think he wanted to learn, so I addressed it. So I hope you guys learned. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. That's the last super chat of the day.
Oh, that was the last one. Okay.
Make sure you guys check us out on Due Dissidents tomorrow. Let me double check, make sure I didn't miss any. But I appreciate all the super chats that we got today. Maybe I'll skip this one. I'll read it again just in case I didn't. Thank you for the $2. I'm so sick of the war crime left trying to guilt me. the war crime.
No, I hadn't heard that one. I think that was a new one. I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, the war crime left. But well said, my friend. Thank you guys for watching as well. Make sure you guys support our Patreon. That's how we pay Aaron. We give her a divide out of the Patreon. We want to make sure that everyone's paid for the fair labor value. If you love the work that she's doing, and you also want to accommodate our labor from doing this reporting, doing a lot of reading and preparing, the Patreon is the best way to do that. So whether it's $3, $5 a month, that help pay our labor, because as communists and socialists, we value paying people for their labor, their labor value. Aaron is really cool about it, but I'm like, nigga, we want to pay you. Like, we want to make sure that you compensated. So if you guys want to support RBN helping us take care of labor, is the best way to do that. So Patreon description. If you're not, we're not asking for a lot. $3-5 a month is good. Our GoFundMe is another good way to support labor as well, part of RBN. and we got all these mutual aid programs going on. So there's a lot that we are asking for. So I appreciate everyone for watching and leaving super chats. I'm gonna bounce out. I'll pass it to you, CJ.
Yeah, we'll end with this quote. This is MLK talking about the white moderate, and this might be one of the quotes that a lot of us are more familiar with when we're talking about a Malcolm X quote about white moderate, because what I read to you was from his autobiography. So let's listen and close out here. Thanks again. Is this new? Yeah, this one is new. I think he didn't read this. Thanks, guys. And that is from Harrison, friend of the show. Thank you. And I don't think I'm pretty sure he read that, but if he didn't, love y'all. Keep reporting. All right. So from here, thank you, everybody. It's not a long video, so we'll end with this video and hit that like button on your way out. It really does help get our video out and be seen by more people. So hit that like button. Thanks, everybody. Where is the play button here? Here we go.
There are many whites who are trying to solve the problem, but you never see them going under the label of liberals. That white person that you see calling himself a liberal is the most dangerous thing in the entire Western Hemisphere. He's the most deceitful. He's like a fox, and a fox is always more dangerous in the forest than the wolf. You can see the wolf coming. You know what he's up to, but the fox will fool you. He comes at you with his mouth shaped in such a way that even though you see his teeth, you think he's smiling. You take him for a friend. There are many whites who are trying to solve the problem, but you never see them going under the label of liberals. That white person that you see calling himself a liberal is the most dangerous thing in the entire Western Hemisphere. He's the most deceitful. He's like a fox. And a fox is always more dangerous in the forest than the wolf. You can see the wolf coming. You know what he's up to, but the fox will fool you. He comes at you with his mouth shaped in such a way that even though you see his teeth, you think he's smiling. You take him for a friend.